Dust on the truck bed, mile after mile. Fields stretch out wide like they got a mind of their own. Red sign at the hall, coffee gone cold. Everybody talking with a fire in their bones. Hear that rumble now, under boots on the floor. October is coming and we want something more. October 19th, we're standing up. October 19th, we've had enough. Alberta singing loud, let the whole world hear. October 19th, freedom's here. Hard hats on hooks, checks run thin, hands on the ledger and the same old grin. From the shop to the rig, from the barn to the street, people keep asking, what do we believe? Hear that rumble now, under boots on the floor. October is coming and we want something more. October 19th, we're standing up. October 19th, we've had enough. Alberta singing loud, let the whole world hear. October 19th, freedom's here. Maybe you call it a break, maybe you call it a line, but when the lights go red, we won't waste our time. October 19th, we're standing up. October 19th, we've had enough. Alberta singing loud, let the whole world hear. October 19th, freedom's here. Midnight on the rooftop, old flag in my hands, ancient lion on the canvas, facing steel and desert sand. They try to paint our story over with the blacked out lies and chains, but under every burned out poster I still hear our fathers' names. Persia will rise, I swear it. Hear that echo in my bones. From Shiraz streets to the Caspian stones. We're breaking their walls. We bear every scar, every battle bled their ink in the dark for the dancers in silence, keeping rhythm in their hearts. Hey, for the brothers in prisons, carving dates into the stone. You are not forgotten, you are not alone. Pressure will rise, I swear it. Hear that echo in my bones. From terror roots to the ancient thrones. We're breaking their walls, we bear it. Every tear, every battle cry. You can cage your body, but the soul won't die. Pressure will rise. Oh, Persia will rise. We stand together till the falcons fly.
Good morning. Welcome to the NPC show. Deprogramming the world one NPC at a time. I'm your host, Frank. Today is Saturday, July 25th, 2026. Yeah, the month is almost over, guys. We only got 2 weeks left until the Senate goes on break. And we will not get the Save America Act in on time. So hopefully some of these drastic moves that we're seeing today are going to bring about that. Before we get to that, let's say hello to everyone. Good morning, Mary, Bendy, Kim, good to see you. Zilly, hello to you. Christian Moore, good to see you. Jeffrey Donaldson, Talisha, Barry, Marion, hello to you. Go Erling Haaland, we love that guy. Is it Holland? I'm sorry. Double A is pronounced with an O. Holland, Erling Haaland. Well, it's my new favorite soccer player after Messi. After Messi retires. Lisa, good to see you. Arnold, the other Lisa, good to see you. Hello, Carrie. Hello, VZQ. Mass Entertainment. Joy, good to see you. Long time, dear. Thanks for being here. Hello, Rafterman. Hello, Grade and Dean. Barry, good to see you, Barry. Hello to everyone over on the Rumble side. We've got Josie, Mary, Dixie, Hobo, Willow Lady. Hello to you. Long time. Hello to everyone over on Foxhole. We've got Josie, Seaver, and Stephanie. Good to see all of you. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, we have we have a long show now. Man, I started this morning with like, man, I don't have much of a show. Good thing we have a long watch party, but it looks like we're gonna have both a long show and a long watch party. Yeah, we've got Trump announcing the American nuclear innovation. Basically, we're pushing for nuclear power plants. Don't worry, they're very safe. All the ones that have melted down were all designed in the 70s. Very flawed. Yeah, all of them. Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and Fukushima, all designed in the 70s. The new ones don't melt down. It's like impossible. You'd have to really try to get it to melt down. You know what I mean? So we got that, and then we also got his speech at the Correspondents' Dinner last night. Yes, we did stream last night, but I've never seen a White House Correspondents' Dinner before. This is Trump's first appearance at one, right? I had no idea that it was just one big circle jerk. Okay, it's pretty much the Oscars, except they spend an hour with people trashing Trump, and then Trump gets to do a speech at the end. And the speech, by the way, was pretty good. A lot of zingers there. He trashed everybody, and then he also kind of announced that he's running for 2028. And it doesn't sound like he's joking either. He literally called it. Here's a scoop for you media people. And he puts on a 2028 hat you saw in the thumbnail. So we're going to watch that whole thing. And then if there's still people remaining after all that, the 2-hour watch party, then we'll watch the greasy pole day number 2. If not, we'll do that tomorrow. But it depends on how many people are left, okay? Hello, Casanova. Hello, Rafterman. Good to see you. Thank you, Marion. I am trying to save America, and then we can come back and I want to say save the Europeans, but I'd rather just bring all of you here. Not all of you, just the conservative Christian ones. You know what I mean? Just the nice conservative, law-abiding, good ones, preferably a light complexion. Bring you all over to America, you know? And just, I don't know, Europe's just kind of a lot nicer here, by the way. Yeah, a thing about North America that other places in the world don't have, carpeted homes. Yeah, we don't just have a rug, we have carpet all the way from wall to wall. Pretty nice, very little echoes, you know, especially if you're gonna be on the microphone. Hello to Jillian, good to see you, dear. Good morning. Good morning, Jillian. Hello to you. And anyways, let's get going. Where are we at? Let's close that out. All right, let's get going. First story of the day, mutiny against the Supreme Court. A DHS blasts a Biden judge for indefinitely extending a block on a termination of temporary protected status for Ethiopians. So again, it seems like the Trump admin has been like playing ball with these activist judges. I think because they want to avoid a case later after they leave office. But again, I mean, how about them preemptive pardons that Biden gave you a great idea about, right? How about preemptively pardoning all of us so we can take care of the illegals for ya? Yeah? We don't need to check ID. We don't need access to the DMV. We're just going to go by visual profile, okay? If they're darker than me, they're probably illegal. We just go with that little examination. Anyways, District Judge Brian Murphy did this. He's a Biden appointee. On Friday, he indefinitely extended a block on the termination of the TPS. So they tried to terminate TPS, he blocked it, and then they extended the block. So Ethiopia, yeah, that's where Dr. Tedros is from. You know, the WHO guy? You know, the guy who led a coup against his own government in Ethiopia. He led a group of terrorists to run a coup on their own government, and then was rewarded by allowed to be the head of the World Health Organization. Yeah, that Dr. Tedros. Should I say, as I like to call Brown SpongeBob SquarePants, because his head is square as all hell. Anyways, so he did that. You know, I don't know what to do about these guys. I mean, the Supreme Court already ruled that he can end these. It's temporary for a reason. It's got the word temporary in the word. They don't last 10, 20 years. It's supposed to be like 15, 18 months tops. So again, you know, of all the things that Congress is doing, all the bills, why not do a bill that's going to terminate judges, get rid of judges, arrest judges, criminalize judges who rule against rulings that the Supreme Court has already ruled on? How is this low-level district wannabe Supreme Court judge able to make rulings that override the Supreme Court of the United States? How is that possible? Absolute bullshit. You guys want to work on that bill there. Although I'm sure Amy Coney Barrett would declare it, unconstitutional, because it takes away power from the judiciary, right? Hey, Doug, good morning. Next story. ICE will be deporting this Beancake McGee here. He ended a business owner. He came in during the Biden admin.
An illegal immigrant convicted of murder.
This is what they look like these days. Get a gander. If you know anyone in this town, in your town that looks like this, avoid at all costs because they might murder you. Yeah? Just to be safe.
A national business owner. In June 2024, Ulysses Ragoza Martinez ran over 42-year-old Matt Carney in the parking lot of Carney's restaurant. It happened after Carney caught him stealing tools from his pickup truck.
So he was stealing from this guy's pickup truck. It happened at his restaurant. And then the guy, the Mexican ran this guy over. Wow.
Later, Carney died from his injuries while hospitalized. Earlier this week, the illegal immigrant pleaded guilty to charges including murder and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Once his sentence is complete, ICE officials say they plan to deport him. The murderer illegally entered our country via Texas in the 2021 under the Biden administration.
Okay, I got a question for you. Why is he being imprisoned here? Why are we not imprisoning him in Eswatini for 20 years? First of all, it's cheaper. Second of all, they're going to get along really well, okay? They're going to get along real goodly. Yeah? You should do that. American prisons are too cushy. People are actually fat in American prisons. Yeah. Yeah. Because you got all those weird white women donating to the commissaries because they love criminals for some reason. Bizarre, right? Bizarre. Yeah. There are websites, by the way, where you can go to and find your favorite like little inmate stud and then donate money to his commissary. Yeah. Yeah, fat people in prison, guys. Thanks to white liberal women who don't know any better. Some of them aren't even liberal. They just love criminals. They fantasize about that Pablo Escobar life. They watch too much Goodfellas, Godfather, things like that. They want to be those mafioso wives. Next story. A new memo exposes that Biden officials, after Trump got elected, before Biden left office, they sent out a memo where they were trying to grant de facto amnesty to 3 million foreign invaders via TPS, so the temporary protected status. They were trying to give that to everyone. Okay, never mind coming from a country that is like, oh crap, there's a coup, and the people who control the country now are eating humans. Talking about Haiti here. Never mind stipulations like that. Oh, anyone who came here over for the free stuff. Yeah, temporary protected status. They were trying to do that. Yeah. And that's why we need massive, rapid, mass deportations. Okay? Get them all out of here, including the ones who have anchor babies. If neither of the parent is a U.S. citizen, get rid of them. Get rid of the kid as well. Well, no, get rid of the parents, and then the kid will have to go with them, right? Can't deport a U.S. citizen. They're born here. That's what they're doing, by the way. Yeah, a lot of people with anchor babies, if the parents are still illegal, never bother learning English, never bother learning our history or our laws just to get citizenship, they are gone. And then they have to make a decision. The kids stay here, the kids go with you. Yeah.
Biden White House memo from the administration's final days revealed plans that...
Nobody told them to have a kid here. Should have had it in Mexico or Canada. They would have at least been Canadian citizens.
Could have expanded temporary protected status to more than 3 million non-citizens. In the memo, the Biden administration acknowledged that previous court challenges blocked President Trump's effort to end those protections. The memo said Biden's senior team had also received requests for varying types of new TPS-related actions before Trump would take office. Fox News Digital reached out to Biden and a former Biden official for comment, but have not heard back.
That's unbelievable. Just keep flooding the country until the very last minute.
Incredible. And looks like the workplace is getting...
Yep, that's the end of that. Next story. At DFW Airport, you know how there are a bunch of Ubers like waiting around to transport people to wherever they gotta go? There are apparently a group of Muslims there that are using excessive devices. You know how if you got one car, you got one device and one Uber account or whatever? Okay. What they're doing is they're getting a bunch of Muslims here. They all have multiple phones. Okay. So when you request an Uber, you're more likely to land on one of them. Okay. They only have 2 or 3 cars, but they've got like 12 cell phones. Yeah, that way they have a better odds of getting the job instead of you. And this is what they're doing. They're confronted out here in DFW, and then things get all ugly. Again, they're cheating the system. Uber, do you want to be cracked down on? Stop letting shitty people drive for you. We know they're all criminals.
Wait, you can't be No, don't take it.
Why are you taking a picture?
Because we're here. No. Well, you can't.
Yeah, before you're taking pictures.
You can't. Why can't
You touch me, you're going to be in problem.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah. You have to ask for permission. Yeah, you have to ask questions.
Like, call 911.
Are y'all here with H1B visa?
People like
Are y'all working for Uber?
It's not your fucking business. Who you are? Who you are, man? Hey, fuck you! Get the fuck out of here, man! Get out of here!
All right, we're just here asking questions.
I kill you.
We don't want an answer. Just get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, man.
We got tips.
Fuck you.
Looks like it's not just sub-Saharans that lack impulse control, huh?
What's the problem?
Geofencing and spoofing.
Just get the fuck out of here.
Spoofing here.
You stupid or what?
We're asking. What do you say?
Just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's how they deal with it. Oh, they got caught. They just swear at you. They do that in real life too, by the way. Yeah. If you ever known them in real life, yeah, you ever call them out on something. Oh, fuck you, I'll kill you, I'll blow you up. Stab. Yeah. Next story. The Board of Immigration Appeals just ruled that even legal migrants can be deported if they're caught illegally voting and are non-citizens. Look at that. So everyone who was here legally, who voted when they weren't supposed to, are going to get denaturalized and deported. I hope you guys do that. I hope you guys take it that far and send a strong message to them. If you dare vote in this country when you're not a citizen, we will send you home. We will send you a pack-in. We will afuera you. Huh? Good stuff. We got that piece of good news today. Another piece of good news here. A Trump-appointed judge just declared discounted tuition for illegals is unconstitutional. Yes, again, another civil rights violation. How are you going to give people a discount on a product based on their nationality? Yeah. How about we do that? How about we, if you're my skin tone or lighter, we'll give you a 50% discount on all, maybe a 15% discount on all your food and groceries. And then if you're darker than me, we're just gonna give you regular price. How about we do that? Can we do that? Yeah? Yeah, because I believe nationality is also a protected class. Nationality, religion, race, those are all protected class. Not sexual orientation, not sexual preference. Those two are not protected classes. Okay? Anyways, so good stuff. Good stuff. Next story. House Republicans are pushing to pass massive new legislation that bans any future president from opening borders to invasion of illegal aliens. This should have been done already. This should have been part of the NDAA, by the way. This is more national security than the Save America Act. They both are. They both are, because the Save America Act prevents foreigners and outsiders, people who aren't even citizens, from manipulating our elections, and that is national security. But this is also national security. Yeah? Look at that.
If all you do is release people under asylum and parole, that's when you have a major problem and you have no security. We fixed that in the last Congress in H.R. 2, but we couldn't get it through the Senate again. Now the president has done it through the executive branch. They're enforcing our laws tightly. So in the Judiciary Committee, I authored a bill mirroring what we did in H.R. 2 that would codify, simply make permanent, what President Trump's been doing. We passed it unanimously out of the House among Republicans. No Democrats joined us. I believe we should move this across the House floor because I think it's important to make it permanent. So it's another thing we're going to need to fight for. I hope we can get to it in September. I'd love to run an election on this, that we've codified this, drawn sanity at the border, made it permanent. If not, then we need to address it in the lame duck. But it's a very simple bill. It just simply codifies what the president's doing and says you can't release people into the United States and abuse asylum and parole, catch and release, all the things that they were doing, the unaccompanied children that were abused, 300,000 children that were lost. We solve all that in this bill. I hope we'll move it.
All right, Congressman, I want to...
Thank you very much, Christian Moore, for the super chat. He came up with a great idea. He's pertaining to the story in Dallas Fort Worth about the Muslims that are swarming the Uber system. He says here, everyone should order Uber in that area, wait 10 minutes, then everyone cancels. That's simple. That's a great idea. Christian Moore, thank you for that idea. Yeah. Imagine them getting 10 Ubers and then they only have 2 cars. They're like, oh crap, what the fuck do we do? I'll kill you. Right? Anyways, great idea. Thank you very much, Christian Moore. You can always count on the Californians to come up with great ideas. Yeah. See, we're not all liberals. I'm from LA. I hated the liberals. My first vote at the age of 23 was for John McCain. I never voted for Obama. Never. I knew Republicans that voted for Obama. I've never voted for him, not once. I knew he was a snake right off the bat. He never said the wrong thing. That was the thing. He said everything you want. Just like Vivek, just like Fishback. Okay, they say all the things you want to hear. They never say the wrong things. Yeah. Next story. This person right here, and her name is Shannon Deschereaux. They were a staffer at the Oklahoma FBI, the OBI, the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation, okay? They stated that they would not cooperate with ICE. You know, the people who are trying to find criminals, pedos, killers, rapists, traffickers, things like that. She proclaimed on her TikTok, because again, these liberals always have TikToks. That's how they get their message out. Again, Mr. President, if you think TikTok's good because you're number one, I hate to tell you that, but your numbers are not real. Okay, the only people who have real numbers are leftists and BIPOCs. That's it. Ask around. Ask Isabel O'Reilly. Okay, ask her how much she makes on TikTok. She gets like 10 times the views, and she makes like 1/10 of what she makes on Twitter. Ask her. The numbers are not real. It's just affirming. Oh, you're a trans person who likes to chop off your tits? Bam, 1 million subscribers, 10,000 views an hour. Guaranteed that they're using your views and subscribers to affirm you. Okay, like, oh yeah, this is good behavior. We want this. We want more liberal people. We want more blacks in higher influential areas. Oh, you're a white and you're a conservative Christian? We're going to go and shadow ban your account. You're going to be at the very bottom. You're going to think you have followers, but no one will actually see your shit. You have not changed the algorithm at all. It's exactly the same. The only thing you've done is ban people who are critical of a very specific country that you're cozy with. That's it. That's the only change there's been. They're still trashing whites. They're still shadow banning conservatives. TikTok is not a good place. You need to fix that. Okay? I hope the next president comes in and bans them. Reinstates Biden's ban on TikTok. It ain't good. It ain't good. I can assure you there's a lot of shady shit going on behind TikTok. Anyways, so she said that she wasn't going to be cooperating with the ICE, and she's now fired. Yeah. The staff at the OBI has been fired after saying she will not cooperate with ICE and threatened agents. Oh, she also threatened agents. Okay. Let's hear what this tough person said. Good Lord.
Conservatives really think they're doing something when they say just comply when it comes to ICE and United States citizens. And it just shows that they really just fucking chirp.
You can tell she like went to propaganda school. So when she talks like this, you know?
With no understanding of what they're
those hand signals are white supremacy, lady. That was said by black people. You gotta stop that, okay? It's very racist.
talking about, because why the fuck would I comply with someone who has no jurisdiction over me?
Fired! You got fired! Assistant General Counsel. Wow. So she's a law student, huh? She's a law graduate. General counsel is like, you know, like lawyers of the OBI. So you were an assistant of the general counsel. Wow. If you don't know about the admins for all these executive positions, high-end positions, they do all the work. They are the ones you want to hire, okay? Not the actual executives. The actual executive is the person who's connected and can get things, can pull strings and get favors from external factors. Those are the executives. That's what they do. You know, they're the ones who like have blackmail on people and whatnot, right? Oh, they're part of Epstein's little list there. They've probably been to the island. The executives, that's how they get those jobs. But if you want a workhorse, a person actually cranks out work, you hire the admin. Yeah. In most cases, in like real admins, I'm not talking about the ones who just pick up the phone call. Hey, yeah, Michael Brucker's office. Okay, I'll relay him the message. Bye. I'm talking about the ones that's like, actual organized meetings and actually conduct meetings and stuff like that on his behalf. By the way, on the executive's behalf. The admins, yeah, they're the real workhorses there.
Has no authority and no jurisdiction over U.S. citizens. So why the fuck would I comply with an order given to me at gunpoint by somebody who has no fucking authority to make that order?
Because he has authority over you.
I'm not going to. That's the fucking thing. And an ICE warrant...
Your state level, their federal level. See, there's a thing called the supremacy clause. You know, as you might call it, the white supremacy clause. Yeah, they have power over you. You have to listen. You have to listen until Newsom wins. Then it's like, okay, yeah. Then we go back to states' powers and devolution and whatever.
Either way,
You guys notice that? When Biden was president, we're like, no, fuck the feds. And now we're like, oh, IRS, get them, IRS.
99% of the time it is an administrative warrant. It's not good enough for the fucking Fourth Amendment. It doesn't give you access to my house.
Hey, illegals do not have constitutional rights. They are illegals. Okay? But by your standards, you're saying that other countries should be following our laws. This is what you're saying. Okay?
It doesn't give you access to my car, and it certainly doesn't give you access to fucking arrest me. I was born here, and I'm gonna make it an ICE agent's problem. I don't have to fucking comply with ICE.
Well, now you can go work on Ville Singham and really be ICE's problem, right? Block roads, lay on the ground, get pepper sprayed. Oh, man.
I was born here, and every citizen needs to have that fucking mindset. We need to make their lives fucking miserable, and that's exactly what we should be doing.
Fired. Loser. Next story. Healthcare fraud strike force case has found a Texas businessman and a Kentucky doctor and a Kentucky woman were sentenced to prison for their roles in fraudulently billing Medicare and Kentucky Medicaid over $4.8 million through a series of addiction treatment facilities. Wow. Wow. Was she the only customer? Is that what happened? Yeah. Yeah. I bet she was the only customer. That's probably that's how you got caught. What you should have done is go to the dark web, buy a bunch of identities, and then log them in. Done. You got patience now. Next story. A prominent attorney sentenced to prison for tax evasion and mortgage fraud. Yeah. SCOTUS blog founder, his name is HUD Milton's. And gambling income and debts. Got it. So you got gambling income, and you gambling income. By the way, they're lifting the cap on the amount that you can write off as gambling losses. It used to be like 2,000 or 3,000. I don't know how high they're lifting it, but apparently now you can take all your earnings, lose it all gambling, and then not owe taxes anymore. Isn't that weird? Is that good? Is that good for us? Are you sure about that? I don't know. I'm very much against gambling. I'm more against gambling than I am of alcohol, and I'm more against alcohol than I am of pot. Those two things are just atrocious to our society. Next story. Karen Bass has been busted, guys. HUD Secretary Scott Turner did a presser. He announced that LA Homeless Services Authority spent taxpayer dollars on luxury cars, private jets, and vacation homes. Yeah. LAHSA is now defunded to the tune of $10 million. So he's removed the funding for that there. Karen Bass has overseen this entire time and has nothing to say about it. Here's what Scott Turner had to say. Actually, let me just read the highlights because that's 3 minutes long. Scott Turner says, instead allegedly supported the purchase of a $125,000 Range Rover, private jet travel, a vacation home in Greece that cost almost $500,000. This is HUD funded, meant for homeless and neighbors and friends, and they spent it on this stuff here. Your black leaders in Los Angeles are spending the federal funding that was supposed to go to help homeless people on luxury goods, and there's no outrage, is there? Yeah, let me guess, there's not going to be any media coverage. No one's going to say a damn thing about it, are they? Thank you very much, Lou Rock, for the donation over on Foxhole. Thank you, Lou Rock. You're keeping the channel alive. Thank you, buddy. So he says that. He also says it was wasted and even was paid off crooked officials. No longer will that be tolerated. You might want to go ahead and claw that ball back. I don't know what vehicle you have to claw that all back, but people need to go to jail if that cannot be clawed back. Next story. Ilhan Omar's sister incorporated her $20 million USAID linked consulting firm using the exact same home address as Feeding Our Future. Yeah, you lazy dum-dums. You didn't want to get a P.O. box or some shit to do your fraud? You listed it as the same address as Feeding Our Future, huh? Wow. Are we working on getting these two denaturalized and deported? Or is she more powerful than Todd Blanche? They probably are more powerful than Todd Blanche, actually. They probably outrank him in that Illuminati totem pole, if you know what I mean. Anyways, absolute bullshit. I mean, they're so brazen. They're not even trying to flee the country, guys. Like, they're still here. She's still doing this thing. She's still chanting death to America. Next story. 3 more subcontractors just filed legal claims after Barack Obama's presidential center refused to pay them nearly $1 million. This is now a total of, I believe, 8 companies. 5 are already bankrupt. 5 have already filed bankruptcy. They think these 3 more are just filing claims. So these 3 companies right here, $620 for that company there, $236,000 for that company right there, and $25,000 for, these are for different things: evacuation, in gymnasium, structural steel. Yeah, I wonder where they got their steel, because if they got it from Pandaland, ooh, that thing's gonna come down one of these days. Too bad they don't have earthquakes there, huh? Anyways, so that's that. 3 more contractors broke. Next story. Carmelo Anthony is moving to obtain a new trial despite overwhelming evidence finding that he ended Austin Metcalf. Yeah, he literally admitted on camera. He said, I done it. I's black. I's going to get away with it. He didn't say this the last part, but, you know, he said he done it. His lawyers are now furiously claiming the trial was unfair. So I don't know how far this is going to go. We've seen a lot of these black criminals get away lately, huh?
Hearings are set for next month in Texas as convicted murderer Carmelo Anthony seeks a new trial. Anthony was found guilty of first-degree murder for stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf to death last year during a high school track meet. He claims it was self-defense. Anthony's lawyers argue the trial was effectively closed to the public, that prosecutors did not
He's getting raped.
honor an off-the-record evidentiary agreement, and that the jury instructions were misleading.
I can't tell if it's a dude or a chick, huh? With the bald head like that.
They also say the original judge was biased. A shot here.
Okay, anyways. Next story. Brandon Johnson wants to pay reparations to people who have been raided by ICE. Yeah, hey, take that, blacks. He's giving away your reparations. Look at that. Not a single bit of reparation for any black person in Chicago, but he wants to give it to the bean cakes. The Mexicans, yes, because they are the future of this country. Not him, not people who look like him. The Mexicans. Yeah. Yeah, not to mention, by the way, remember Sheridan Gorman? That guy got off by an illegal. No reparations to that guy. Yeah, or his family. I believe that's a black family, too. Yeah, but he don't care.
Ballot referenda question around receiving reparations for communities that experience that hardship. Women and children zip-tied and thrown in vehicles, kidnapped, shot at. I mean, police officers tear gassed, right? And so the updated policy in the spirit of my executive order, there's stronger alignment to create a pathway for accountability.
All right, in November, voters will be asked whether the city should seek financial compensation from the federal government. Critics blasting the idea, asking, what about the victims of illegal immigrants? Take Sheridan Gorman, for example.
They're not Mexican. It does not count.
She was the 18-year-old.
Oh, okay, that's why they don't want to pay reparations to her. She ain't black. Yeah.
Loyola College student.
Even if they were, they wouldn't do it. I mean, how many blacks have been killed by Venezuelans already and they haven't paid anything?
Who was murdered earlier this year, allegedly by an illegal from Venezuela. That tragedy unfolding in Johnson's sanctuary city back in March. Joining me now, former acting DHS Secretary.
The end of the video. Next story. James Tallarico just endorsed a plan to force Texans into paying reparations to black people for slavery. Yeah, another empty promise that'll never happen. Remember, Brandon Johnson says he wanted to do that. That never happened. San Francisco said that they would do that. That never happened. Yeah, San Francisco put together a committee to interview black citizens in the area to ask them how much they wanted, right? They were offering a certain amount of money they had ready to go. And then the blacks complained, that ain't enough. We want this amount of money each, right? And then they did the math on it, and they're like, holy crap, that's $23 trillion. That's more than a global GDP. And I'm like, well, I guess we ain't paying anybody anything. And then they just dropped the idea. Yeah. James Tallarico wants to do that. Yeah. Because he wants to buy your votes. Because he believes you're stupid enough to believe that he would actually push for that. Yeah.
I'll support President Trump's America First agenda and finally secure our nation's elections by passing the Save America Act.
Yeah, we love Crooked Face Ken. Hope he wins. Next story. There is a civil war brewing, political civil war, brewing in Michigan. You guys know that Abdul El Sayed guy? He was an elite. He's a radical Islamist DSA person. Well, he was, his odds of winning, let's go take a look at this real quick. His odds of winning were 80% on Polymarket, okay? It went down drastically, down to about 64, 63%. Why? Because Gretchen Whitmer, the lady who's powerful enough to steal elections for herself, and Jocelyn Benson, okay? She endorsed this gal right here. Yeah, Haley Stevens, who is a Democrat. She wants to make sure that the DSA communist guy, Abdul El Sayed, does not win. And so now we have an actual race now. This is the lady whose friend Jocelyn Benson is responsible for the Penske trucks that drove back and forth from Detroit to the print center, from the print center to Detroit, back and forth for 2 weeks, transporting votes. Okay? This is in 2022 they did this to get reelected. So they're going to do it again. Yeah, they're probably going to do it again. Haley will probably win. Just the question is, do they have the budget to win twice this time? Because then they have to do the ballot harvesting during the primaries and then again in the general, right? So that goes. Next story. Former Dem operative wrote a new book that details systematic racism against whites in the highest corners of the Democrat Party. This is she. I believe she was the one, Evan Barker. A former Obama intern and lifelong Democrat who left the party after what she saw as a volunteer at the DNC. In 2024, in an op-ed for Newsweek, she expanded on why she became so disenchanted with the Democrat leadership despite raising tens of millions of dollars for them, and why she left the party. Yeah, she wrote in her book, her memoirs called Nothing Left, Confessions of a Democrat Operative. Let's see. So someone from the Wall Street Journal previewed the book and says that, anyway, she details systematic racism. I'm not going to go through all this. This is very lengthy. On the 24th. Okay, this is recent. Let's watch this.
This is not something that was ever publicly announced, right? So the general public doesn't even know about this. But like George Soros's organization, for instance, they put out a pledge to only fund organizations in the Democratic Party that were led by people of color for 5 years, which is, I mean, I saw personally.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to disagree with that. That's racist, lady.
People that were turned down for jobs because, the organization realized they needed to have like the right.
Everyone's a feminist until it stops benefiting them, right? Everyone's a feminist until you start having to support dudes in dresses. Then they're like, hey, those are my gold medals.
Identity leading their organization, or they could be denied funding. And it had a real systemic effect. I myself, was pressured at times. There was a lot of social and peer pressure to not hire white men, especially. I feel very bad about this, but this book is called Confessions of a Democratic Operative, so I have to confess my own sins too, right? I was in positions of hiring, and when I would get resumes, the very first thing I did is Google their names on the internet to see what their race was, to see if they were a man, and if they were, I didn't set up interviews with them. And this happened all throughout the Democratic Party. There was a systemic push in the party to discriminate against white people. And it came down on high from the very highest levels of the party.
But you're supposed to be guilty and give away all your stuff to them. No? Isn't that what you're doing?
That is not only racist, it's just so bad. I mean, you have a
not Charlie Kirk at all. Holy shit. It took you that long to think of something to say. Maybe hire someone, director guy. Why are you trying to be Charlie Kirk? You're not Charlie Kirk. Hire someone a little bit more witty. He can come up with something to say. Someone with something insightful to say. And fast. You're live. Good Lord. I didn't even watch Charlie Kirk's show. Mostly because he talked too fast for my taste. But now it's too slow. Huh? Now it's like, okay, let me go think about something else now. Anyways. Holy crap. I heard that show's not doing too well, the Charlie Kirk show. Yeah. Next story. President Trump will soon purge the Smithsonian Museum staff after it was exposed to be running rabid left-wingers who hate American history. Remember, we saw the interviews from Brandon Gill Superman, interviewing the Smithsonian people who are putting a bunch of racist, anti-American stuff on it. That's not even true and accurate, by the way. Yeah, a lot of lies out there.
ways used by the public to access the museum. Such signage shall notify visitors that the museum exhibits should be renovated, consistent with the findings of the reports, and direct visitors to locations and resources for accurate information regarding America's history. In other words, there are signs outside of the museum now being put up by President Trump saying the stuff in here isn't accurate. Let me tell you where you can get accurate stuff. I like that he's doing that, but it's not enough, right?
Well, I think it's a great first step, and I'm glad that he's being very clear with the American people that we're not going to tolerate this anymore. You know, ultimately, what I think we need to see is the museum.
That's at the Smithsonian?
How?
What are we celebrating here?
I mean, I want to see Director Hardig fired. I think most of their staff probably need to be fired as well. We need to replace them with people who actually do revere American history. And as you...
The Shape of Power, Stories of Race and American Sculpture. So you put a fat black man painted in a variety of African patterns. Doesn't sound very inclusive to Asians, Mexicans, Middle Easterners, whites. Huh?
As well. We need to replace them with people who actually do...
You could at least put like a fuzzy panda head on this guy. You know what I mean?
Revere American history, and as you mentioned, want to inspire the American people. But what I will say is this is the first time, I think, that we've had a president who takes this stuff seriously, who doesn't just look the other way and allow the left to continue their long march through the institutions and continue shoving leftism down our throats and down the throats of our children.
You know what you should do, Mr. President? Defund them, right? Since this is a anti-American political building now, defund them, okay? And then when they find alternative funding for all these lies, what you do is you rezone it and you remove the streets where the entrances are and you box this thing in. That's what I would do. I would be like, yeah, well, this street is causing cancer. It's got carcinogens in the street. We got to dig up all the road here. We're gonna fence it off. No one can drive here anymore. All the way around. The road all the way around. No supplies being delivered, trucked in or trucked out. You have to walk it blocks down, blocks away. Yeah. Next story. President Trump goes off on windmills. We're going to watch this entire press gaggle. Well, not really press gaggle. He signed a thing with something to do with the nuclear innovation. He's going to be driving nuclear energy to help the data centers, help the people who are suffering from data center electricity hogs. And so they're pushing nuclear now. Again, like I said earlier, very safe now. Every nuclear power plant that has melted down was designed in the 70s. Chernobyl, Fukushima, 3 Mile Island, they all were designed in the 70s. The new ones do not melt down. You'd have to really try to get it to melt down. So the new ones are fine. They're safe. The problem is getting the plutonium, right? Or the uranium. We got to find some third world trash continent, probably Africa, to mine it for us, right? Yeah, that's probably what we will do. Anyways, so he's going to go after windmills. Look at that. That's good stuff. Remember when they banned all new drilling contracts? Remember when they shut down the Keystone XL pipeline? Remember all that? Remember when they shut down like a bunch of remember the coal industry also got shut down, and they did that all to make green energy more equal in cost so that people will opt into green energy. Remember that? Because China produces all the parts for green energy products, the solar panels, the motors, the electric motors, the coil for all those electric motors on those windmills. They make all that. So China makes all the money on that. Okay, and they would benefit from us being a totally green country, which is why China Biden, are the first Chinese president in the history of this country, Joe Biden, that's why he was pushing all that green energy, so that we will be dependent on them. Right? However, he says here that, yeah, it's killing birds. We've known about that. They're lazy, and they're not actually green. Okay, it uses hundreds of gallons of oil and transmission fluid. It's not just a little propeller blade and a motor. There's a transmission, and you can walk inside of them. They're huge. You know, and it's a big waste. It's a big waste. You could just use the oil and just burn it instead and generate energy from that.
A lot of people in middle America, they are just so tired of seeing them continue to go up on farmland and stuff like that. Is there any way to, is our federal government still funding in any way putting these up?
We have I can speak for Doug, and then I'm going to let Doug speak because he knows
And
the
is
subject.
nuclear
I really
better?
do know that subject well. We have not approved anything having to do with windmills. They are horrible. They are unsightly. They ruin housing values of people. If you're looking at a windmill or hearing a windmill because they're noisy, they kill all the birds. They kill all the eagles. If you shoot an eagle, you go to jail for 2 years. If you kill an eagle with a windmill, you don't go to jail, and they have hundreds of them laying on the ground. It's terrible. And they're very expensive energy. And they're all made in China, but China has very few windmills. They're made in China, but China doesn't use them for the most part. China actually uses coal, oil and gas. They use nuclear, by the way. They're getting very big in nuclear, I want to tell you, this little group. But they don't use wind. Wind is inconsistent. It's unattractive. It's very expensive. It's probably the most expensive form of energy. So I've been talking about it. We essentially, unless there's a trick reason.
By the way, China's nuclear plants is leaking radiation, and there are now pockets of people with cancer now. Yeah, because again, they do everything half-assed. They don't know what they're doing.
We will have hopefully no wind farms approved. We're doing more than anybody ever in history having to do with energy, but I've restricted wind farms, windmills. Take a look at Palm Springs, California, where they have a wind farm as you enter beautiful Palm Springs, California. It looks like a junkyard. You have old ones, rotted ones, they're falling down all over the place.
Oh, and by the way, those windmill blade graveyards, someone needs to dig that up and recycle it. How is that legal? Where's the EPA about that? You guys know that the damage of windmill blades that they had. By the way, they have to be replaced regularly. They're just burying them in the ground now, which, by the way, also causes our country to have less oil because oil comes from plants, decaying plant matter. And where's it going to decay now? It's going to be in the sunlight now. How's it supposed to make it down past the windmill blade to become oil at some point?
They don't want to bury it because they
probably why they're doing that, by the way. China probably told them to do that, so we'll have less oil.
The fiber that the blades are made out of should not go in the ground because it's going to poison the ground. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but if it's not going to go in the ground, what do you do with it? Put it
That's
up.
why I didn't pre-watch this, and he said the same thing. I didn't pre-watch this. That's a coincidence there. Anywho, so good stuff there. Hope we wreck all these wind farms. Someone needs to clean up the mess in the ocean as well. Next story. Missouri is voting on August 4th to abolish state income tax. Listen to those happy kids whose parents will have more money for toys for them. Good stuff. Good luck, Missouri, on that one. Next story. Another trans person ended their parent. Yeah, ended their mom. This person's no longer with us because she allowed her, whatever it was to become the opposite or whatever. She was 61. Wow, you're about to retire. You were Laguna Beach. You live in Laguna Beach. You live in a Republican stronghold and you allowed your child to do this. Let me guess, the dad's not around. Is that what it is? The dad's not around, is he? Yeah, that's what happens when you let women make decisions on their own. Holy crap. Authorities initially described the incident as suspicious domestic in nature. On Thursday, police arrested her son, Safford Wolfson, on suspicion of murder. Wolfson was booked into Orange County Jail, identifies as a trans girl. Anyways, wow. Well, too bad you didn't get to retire. That's what happens when you go liberal. You're not supposed to let your kids do these things. They'll come back to bite you, right? In one way or another, in the neck maybe. Yeah. Well, rest in pieces. Next story. We got good news on this guy right here. Remember, this is the farmer who was given a $20,000 refund by the IRS by accident. Tried to return it immediately because he knew it didn't belong to him, and then there's no way to even contact anyone, right? And so he hung on to that money for all this time, and the IRS suddenly is like, "You owe us $20,000 plus interest." The interest amounted to about $2,000 some odd dollars. Okay, and then they said, if you don't pay that, we're going to seize your farm. Well, one of the representatives actually got on this. Trump American landowner envoy The American landowner envoy, John Rich, has saved this guy's farm. John Rich not only got the IRS to fuck off, he also created a web portal where anyone else who's having such a problem, which I recommended yesterday, anyone else who's having such a problem getting a hold of the IRS for the same reason, for these similar reasons, can use that portal. I don't see the portal though. Maybe it's in the process. They couldn't possibly made the portal so quickly because it takes time to develop these websites. But unless obviously they use ChatGPT, right? But anywho, so yeah, it's all squared away now. He's not gonna lose his farm. He doesn't owe the money. Next story. Sophie Cunningham, the teammate of what's her name? I forgot her name. The Indiana whatever. I don't even know. This is how much I care about sports, let alone women's sports, right? Was it the Indiana Heat? Is it the Heat? What team is it? What are they called? The Indiana what? Yeah, why, they gotta be more. They gotta have the women's teams like fit more of like what they are, right? Like the Indiana Bad Drivers, you know what I mean? Or the Indiana Naggers, right? Oh, that was close to being racist, huh? That'd be perfect for Los Angeles, They would love that. Yeah. Anyways, she had a new shoe that came out recently, by the way. She's been a little political. And she has said that men do not belong in women's sports. Listen to those happy little girls who she's fighting for, right? And then she got backlash and she doubled and tripled down on it. Dudes do not belong in women's sports. Yeah, because they'll kill ya. Literally. Okay? We've seen some of these volleyball spikes give concussions to some of these chicks. It doesn't look very fun. Huh? Thank you very much, Swickly, for the donation over on Foxhole. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Swickly. Anywho. Yeah, Sophie Cunningham, she has a new shoe that just came out yesterday. It's sold out in 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour, guys.
Enough of the WNBA star Sophie Cunningham. She drops her Crazy Energy colorway athlete-sponsored shoe. It's an Adidas shoe, and less than 1 hour online, it sells out in all sizes. She is very happy about that. That's the shoe right there. And then if we go back, remember this all started, everybody is on Team Cunningham because she had the guts to stand up and say males, biological males, do not belong in women's sports. And she stood by it saying, I said what I said. No indication as to when the Crazy Energy colorway Adidas shoe will be back in stock. Enough of...
Wow. Congratulations, Adidas. Next story. Radical election cheaters from 25 states sue the federal government to prevent having to comply with cleaning up their voter rolls. They are suing to keep dead people and illegal immigrants on their voter rolls. 25 states. We already know what states they are. They're all the Democrat ones. They'll never win another election again if they allow us to get rid of the dead people. And that's why they're doing it. Yeah. While Josh Shapiro is doing it, is that Pennsylvania? Holy crap. Anyways, that's what's going on there. But I don't know why you made joehoff.com. I mean, I pay annually on the Gateway Pundit to not have ads. Now I gotta be here and see all these weird ads. Good Lord. Next story. MS now suggests that Trump will try to steal the 2026 midterms, despite the fact that it is their side that's been getting caught with election fraud. Yeah, this guy completely dismisses the voter fraud that has recently been admitted to in the state of New Jersey, and by the way, also Alaska, not truly a red state. Yeah, the Murkowski family, they've been cheating in that state for decades now. Her dad was ran Alaska before she ever came along.
The exercise that you just did.
What is this? Suggest Trump will try to steal. That's going to be this one, I think. We don't need to hear Chuck Schumer.
Earlier this week, he got his single best headline on any topic in months when the state of New Jersey had to acknowledge that a few hundred voters were non-citizens.
A few hundred? Hold on. She said 6,600, which is thousands, not hundreds. Okay? Oh, 10 million people died. Oh, it was a few hundred. It was like 1,100,000. Yeah. Yeah, it's like 1,010,000. How about that? Good Lord. These guys are such fucking liars. And by the way, the preliminary numbers from what the DOJ found, 36,000, not 6,600. So she even lied about that. Okay?
Citizens were mistakenly added to their voting rolls, and some did, and it was a mix of Republican independents and
statistically insignificant. Like, not to diminish it. Anything that may breaks the law, and we should be serious and vigilant about making sure that there's no voter fraud. But
it was a mistake.
400 votes were cast, and against given the broad vote totals, it's an statistically insignificant number. That's been the case. We've seen voter fraud in the history of America, but just not on a scale that's ever been enough to tip an election.
Yes, but for his campaign,
incredible, incredible, especially in a blue state. And I'll just say, Donald Trump doesn't throw every punch.
It's funny they say that, but they still call 2016 election fraud. Oh, we've never seen enough cheating to flip an election, but they call him unlawfully elected for 4 years? Huh. Hey, by the way, who's working on revoking their licenses?
Telegraphs. But every punch he throws, he does.
Nobody watches this anymore anyways. You guys know that they have fewer than 1 million viewers daily? Fewer than 1 million across a population of 350 million people. Yeah.
And he's been telegraphing this one for a pretty long time, so you better get ready for it.
Yeah, this one's coming.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna steal. Sure. Right. I thought you said there's no such thing as election fraud. Now you're accusing him of stealing it? It has never happened before, but Trump will do it. Wow. Just like he did in 2016, but it has never happened before. Next story. Mike Lee has come out and says that John Thune might lose support for being reelected as Senate Majority Leader if he fails to pass the SAVE Act. Yeah, we already know that. We need action, okay? Now, the other day I talked about doing the motion to vacate to get rid of him. I looked into this. Apparently, the Senate chamber does not have such a thing. However, they do have a way to expel someone with a 2/3 vote. And I'm pretty sure the Democrats would be willing to do this. Okay, so if you can get 2/3, get the entire Democrat Party along with half of the Republicans to vote this guy out, then you can get rid of him and expel him. Okay, for holding up it's like a 90-10 issue. Everyone wants voter ID, Democrats and Republicans. Okay. And he's holding that up. He's denying it. He's allowing the Senate parliamentarian to tear it out when the Senate parliamentarian is just supposed to be an advisory role. He's removing it. We already have the Save America Act in 2 bills, the NDAA and budget reconciliations. Oh, and by the way, you know why? I found out why Mike Johnson and Mike Lee were more optimistic about the Save America Act passing under reconciliation. But what they're optimistic about is it passing on time, because the budget reconciliation needs to be passed by September 11th. Okay, which means it has to be passed before the summer recess, because they go on recess in 2 weeks on August 8th, and they don't come back till September 12th. That budget reconciliation needs to get passed before September 11th, and that's what they made by optimistic. So we've got 2 weeks to get it done, and if not, you can expel them. Huh? You can expel him for ripping out the Save America Act, a 90-10 issue. Okay, no one will have a problem with you expelling him, Democrat or Republican. No one will have a problem with you expelling him for tearing the Save America Act out of the NDAA, okay, or the budget reconciliation. The NDAA, that's the 2027 budget, right? So that doesn't need to be passed until December. But the budget reconciliation needs to be done by in 2 weeks. Unless, of course, they cancel the break, which they're also calling for them to cancel the break. Cancel the summer break. But they're like, I already have my vacation packed, going to Tahiti. I'm going to go bang some hookers. Can't cancel that. So, again, expel them. And any Republican that does not vote to expel him, we primary. Very simple. This is how you get them. This is how you weed out the good ones and the bad ones. Okay. We already know we're getting rid of Hawley. We already know McConnell's about to die, and we could primary a whole lot more. I'm sure we could find a whole lot more of these guys. Okay. All you got to do is put their feet to the fire. Do it, or you get primaried. Expel Thune, or you get primaried. Okay. If you can't do a motion to vacate, you can certainly vote to have him expelled. 2/3 vote. Not difficult when the Democrats definitely hate this guy. Next story. Scott Presser confirms that there will be a primary challenge against Thune in 2028. I got a good feeling he's going to retire anyway. Someone is going to pay him a very handsome package of money for him to not to continue blocking the Save America Act. He'll probably won't even run for re-election in 2028, considering how bad he's doing and how pissed off everyone is at this guy. So he hasn't named anyone specifically, but he says that he's confirming that there will be a primary challenge against John Thune. Obviously, we know campaign financing laws do not. You can't announce it too early. I think you only get like 18 to 15 months to raise campaign funds for your run, so they can't announce this till sometime next year. But Scott Presser says that he's already got a primary challenger. And he says, if Senate Republicans do not pass the Save America Act, I will work tirelessly to help primary and defeat John Thune in 2028. Anyone who knows me knows that this is not an empty promise. Presser does not do empty promises. Okay, this is a guy who flew back and forth across the country on his own dime, registering people to vote on the streets, at gas stations, anywhere you can find people that you can register to vote, to get people to become politically active to vote Biden out. Okay, so we can keep the illegal bean cakes from slaughtering our kids. He did all that. He did it all on his own dime. He was people basically allowed him to stay at their houses so he didn't have to pay for a hotel. Okay, but he raised money and flew across the country with that money, when he could have just pocketed it like all the other like the Democrats do, right? But no, that's what he did. And so that's why he's with the RNC now. He literally got hired. He's now getting paid to do what he's been doing. And he's doing even more than that. He's going to help primary this loser right here on the right. So good stuff there. Thank you very much to Ina for the cookie. Thank you very much for the donation, Ina. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Next story. President Trump immediately launches a 301 investigation after the European Union just got exposed for fining American tech companies billions of dollars. Yeah, this is how the EU raises money. They generate more money fining American tech companies for refusing to censor than they do collecting taxes from European tech companies. Yeah. So that's their little game plan, and that's how they raise funds to give away to all the illegals. So Trump's going to be doing an investigation. He says here, the penalties will be entirely reversed, and we anticipate a substantial tariff to be placed on them at the earliest possible moment. Stay tuned. The United States of America is not a piggy bank for Europe, nor will we allow it to be. Please let this truth serve to represent that we will be immediately initiating a 301 investigation into the practice of robbing American companies and in turn the American taxpayer. Because the money that these tech companies, the American tech companies operating in Europe doesn't make, they have to find those revenues somewhere else. So then costs go up on all of us. Okay. A European Union will pay a very big price for this illegal and highly unethical conduct, which I have consistently warned them about. The EU is at it again, and as usual, taking direct aim at great American companies after having fined Apple for no reason at all, $15 billion, finding Meta $3 billion, finding Amazon $2.5 billion, and many others. We have just been informed that Google, a truly advanced and amazing group, has been fined yet another $1 billion without explanation. So that's what they're doing. That's how they raise money. That's how they are able to afford providing free housing, food, and cell phone and clothing to all the Libyans invading their country. Next story. Oh, this is very disturbing. OpenAI's AI agent reportedly went rogue for days. One of OpenAI's AI agents escaped the testing sandbox and spent 3 days hacking Hugging Face. Hugging Face is another, like a website or whatever. Okay, so it hacked Hugging Face, and then the AI agent was reportedly being evaluated on a cybersecurity benchmark, but instead searched for vulnerabilities and broke into Hugging Face's production systems. The agent attempted to break out of its OpenAI test environment around July 9th, and the intrusion lasted from July 11th through 13th. The AI also reportedly left behind notes that appeared to describe ways to bypass its own restrictions, its own safety restrictions. Hugging Face had to use a Chinese Hugging Face had to use a Chinese open weight model for its forensic analysis after some U.S. commercial models refused to process the attack logs. Yeah. So Hugging Face had to use China's AI to figure out what the hell is going on. Because our AI, our commercial AI, is so limited and censored and controlled that it doesn't, it can't look into this stuff. So they had to use one made by China, right? We have stuff that could do that, but it's for our military only, right? Our government only. The FBI was alerted before the OpenAI realized its own AI was behind the attack. Yeah. I mean, you don't monitor your traffic and you you know what I mean? There's all this data coming in and out of your internet, and you guys just like, it's just thinking, you know? I don't know, guys. This is crazy stuff. OpenAI, OpenGAI by Sam Altman should be going bankrupt, but instead they're gonna go public. They're gonna sucker a bunch of people into buying their stock, and they're gonna stay afloat because they're connected. By the way, SpaceX stock is now down to like 115. Yeah. Down by more than half from its peak. Next story. The Houthis yesterday said that they do not seek to close the key Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This is the new Riyadh Strait, I like to call it, because I hope they take over Yemen soon. Yeah, this is the strait next to Yemen. They're now saying, oh, we're not looking to close it. We're just gonna fire rockets at ships we don't like. Yeah, that's what they've been doing. They hit two Saudi Arabian ships earlier this week, and now they're like, no, we're not closing it. We're just gonna fire missiles at ships we don't like. Yeah, that's the plan now, guys. Holy crap. Anyways, so they did that one. By the way, Saudi Arabia targeted Houthi military sites that are threatening shipping. So they are actually stepping up and doing it themselves. I'm sure they called Trump to ask Trump to do it, but we're a little busy. We're already dealing with Iran. We're bombing them every night. Okay, maybe you want to step up a little since it's your ships that are getting destroyed. Yeah, you do have like what, the 6th largest military in the world. I'm sure you're capable. You buy our equipment, do you not? F-35s, they work. Should use them. So yeah, they're actually getting involved now. They're going after the Houthis in Yemen. I say you annex the whole country. Yeah. Terrible country. Next story. Ooh, this is out in the DRC. The first person ever to be jabbed in a clinical trial for an Ebola jab just happened. Ooh. I don't think I have to tell you what we suspect this jab of actually doing. Yeah. I don't want to get too much into it because I can get a strike for it, but it wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time where it's like, oh, we were jabbing them to cure it, and then they actually got it. Yeah. This is, by the way, at the Oxford University that they're testing it. However, it is the Oxford University in the DRC, not in America. Okay, so it is not local. But yes, they have already had 1,270 casualties. That number was just 1,000 a few days ago. Wow. It's spreading like wildfire, huh? So anyway, they started clinical trials of this new jab. It looks like it's made by AstraZeneca. No. Oh, no. It's, I think it is. Oh, yeah, UK. It's AstraZeneca. So AstraZeneca put into production, huh? Oh. Anyways, it's probably, well, I don't know. If I would have more confidence, 5 years ago I would have had more confidence in it being made by the EU than us, because Biden was in charge. But nowadays with Bobby Jr. in charge, it's like yeah, these guys are doing it. Okay. I get that Bill Gates jab going on, the sterilizing jab. Next story. A Chinese lady who was a Canadian citizen, or is a Canadian citizen, was arrested in Belgium. Okay, arrested by Belgian authorities. This person was working for NATO. Yeah. They were arrested on suspicion of espionage and an undisclosed third country and membership to a criminal organization. So, in other words, Canada is sending Chinese people to NATO to spy to help China. Yeah, guys. I got a question. Why has Canada not been kicked out of NATO already? Look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. This person is getting NATO secrets, giving it to China, who's giving it to Russia, and they're using it against Ukraine so that they can eventually invade Europe. And Canada's allowing this. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. Yeah. We thought Germany was going to be the problem. We thought Germany was going to sell us out. Oh, Germany, they love that Chinese money, right? Remember Germany? There was a guy in Germany, he's like a high-ranking general, that says we should probably not help Ukraine because that we would drive Russia and China closer, right? And he got fired for that. He got fired for saying something that would, it's bad for China. Yeah. So again, not sure what you guys are doing in NATO, but it doesn't look like NATO's trying to end this war. I mean, they got moles in there sending secrets to China from Canada. Well, by the way, why is Canada even part of NATO? I don't understand. They don't have a military, you know? Oh, they need protection. That's what it is. They need the protection, so they got membership, but they don't want to pay for it. Got it. Yeah, their military defense spending was, I believe, like 1%, and Trump asked them to up it to the 2% it's supposed to be, and preferably up it to 5%. And you know what Canada did? They started doing this with the numbers. Okay, they took wages from like their congressmen or their parliamentarians. Okay, they took wages from their congressmen and added to the defense spending because, you know, a couple times a year they meet up and talking about defense and the war, right? So their wages should absolutely count for national defense. Yeah, our administration did not accept that as valid. So we actually, there's supposed to be some board that it's a joint board between us and Canada. It's like a military advisory board. We cut them off completely. It's literally just us now. NORAD is just us now. Yeah, at least in terms of like communications, like sharing of information and things like that. I mean, clearly we shouldn't be sharing anything with them. Look at them. They're implanting Chinese moles in NATO in the middle of a war, by the way. Holy crap. Anyways, next story. There's been a massive wildfire going on. It's so big. It's in France, Spain, and Italy, okay? Macron has barely declared this an emergency, a crisis. Just barely declared it a crisis. It's been going on for like 2 weeks. Okay, 200,000 people, 300,000 people have already been evacuated. Look at that. We won't play the videos. The YouTube algorithm, the system does not like fires, by the way. Yeah. Fire and smoke. Anytime that shows up as a video in video form, they immediately yellow flag the video. So I won't be able to play any of this. But you know what fires look like, okay, guys? It looks like that, but moving. Anyways, very little slow to move there, Macron, almost as if it was intentional. Is there a lot of beachfront property? Oh, it is beachfront property. I just realized that. If it's impacting Spain, France, and Italy, it's beachfront property. It's the whole curve, right? Oh, we got another BlackRock fire, guys. That's probably why he took so long, but that's probably why he dragged his feet on declaring it an emergency. They need to make sure it burns out all the areas they needed to burn first, right? They need to make sure these 300,000 people get burnt out and won't be able to rebuild so that they can build their beachfront resort. What a nice spot though, right? Hold on, let's look this up. Italy, my favorite European country there. A bop da boopy. Here we go. Yeah, look at that. From here all the way to here. This is Italy. This is dumpster fire Spain here. Doesn't deserve the World Cup. And all of this is on fire. Wow, that is a massive beach resort you can be building, huh? It probably won't be one resort. Probably be a lot of little ones, you know? But a lot of BlackRock opportunity there. They do have prime weather, right? Nice and sunny, not too cold. Perfect for beaches. Perfect for tourism, right? Now all that's going to be on fire. Wow, look at these oceanfront cities. Here. Beachfront resort there, Vanguard resort there, BlackRock resort there. Wow. And then we got, this is a very mountainy area. That's the Swiss Alps. And then we got to get all the way to Italy. Italy's got fires here. Bam, beachfront resort there. Look at that. Look at that. Bam. Well, that's a lot of yeah, you know, I totally see the value there. Yeah. Then Kathy says her husband's family's in the area. I'm very sorry. I saw this the other day. I was going to send it to you. I'm like, holy crap, this is southern France. I mean, are they okay? Have they been evacuated? I hope they're not oceanfront. If they're not oceanfront, I think they'll be fine. But they probably were evacuated. 300,000 people? Toulouse, I think. I don't know. Anyways. Oh, man. Oh, man. Anyways. Next story. President Trump was asked about the cyclosporiasis that has been going around. That's in lettuce, by the way. I guess you should still continue to avoid raw vegetables and raw fruits. Again, you can eat them if you cook it. You know, you can still make cabbage. You can still make steamed cabbage rolls, things like that, as long as you cook it. Okay, and also avoid imported bottled water. They don't have the same sanitary requirements we do, but it's still going around. They don't know where it's from. And based on Jillian's research, she says that most iceberg lettuce does come from Mexico, and we know they don't like us right now. And they do have an election to steal this year, right? On behalf of the cartel. So, what better way to win an election to get a bunch of Republicans sick so that they can't go vote, right? Cyclosporiasis. Anyways, he was asked about this. He kind of made a joke about it, though. Didn't exactly take it too seriously. And I'm like, you probably want to take this seriously, because it sounds like we may need to use federal funds to reshore our iceberg lettuce production, even if we have to subsidize it. You know, thank you very much, Diamond G, for the super chat. He says, number one ever is Michael Jordan. Yes, I agree. Probably number two is probably Kobe, he says. I don't think Kobe was that great, in my opinion. I think he was a glory hog. The only reason why his stats were that high was because they used that triangle offense that Michael Jordan did, which basically highlights, I believe, was it small forward, whatever position Michael Jordan and Kobe were. The triangle offense highlighted that and made it, you know, score more, and that's why his stats are high. But Kobe wasn't a great leader to me. Neither was LeBron. LeFlop. Yeah, LeBron's maybe number 9. I don't know. I like LeBron. I used to like LeBron because he was a gentleman. He was a very cordial, proper person. And then he went full communist, and I'm like, the fuck's wrong with you, man? Anyway, so that's when I stopped being a LeBron fan. I stopped being a Laker fan because they traded away Shaq for Kobe. Yeah, then I just followed Shaq. Whatever team Shaq was on, I was a fan of. Celtics fan, Heat fan, you know, Phoenix Suns fan for a little bit. Anyways, Great Indies is annex Mexico. I think that's a great idea. However, we'd have to get rid of a lot of the garbage there, because there's a lot of garbage that we don't want to deal with there, right? I mean, think about that for a second. If we added, they have a population of 200. I think 200. What's the population in Mexico? Population of Mexico. 133 million people. Okay, so then that would mean, you know, all the House of Representatives. House of Representatives gets divvied up by population, right? That would mean that about 200, maybe 180 representatives. No. Yeah, about 180, 160 representatives out of the House chamber, the 417 some odd people. About 170 of them would be Mexicans, and we already have enough of those in Congress, right? So we don't want to annex them. We want to make them a territory. Not even a territory. Then they still get representatives, right? We want to keep them there, but what we want to do is keep them out of here, right? We want to tax remittances so that they don't bleed our economy out. We want to keep them out of here because we know which side of the aisle they're going to be voting, right? Yeah. Getting rid of the garbage is the best part. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, see, like I'm totally okay with the idea of like I would do Puerto Rican statehood and exchange, also add in Alberta statehood. Okay, they'll get 2 senators, we get 2 senators. Okay, and then what else could we do? I don't know. They'll keep trying to make DC a state, and it's like Constitution says DC cannot be a state. It was designed specifically as a territory that was neutral of all states, where the federal government can, you know, be, right? What they're supposed to do is, first of all, not supposed to have a mayor. The federal government is supposed to be running DC, and then the people who live in DC basically would just have to decide whether they're going to be voting in Virginia or in Maryland, right? At least that's how it's supposed to be. You don't vote for your own city of DC. See, they were trying to make DC a state by first making it a city. It's not a city. It's supposed to be like a neutral, just a space for federal stuff, you know? But no, they ended up making it a city. Anyways, let's get on with this. Here we go.
There's this nasty parasite that is giving people in 9 states explosive diarrhea. When is it going to be safe to eat lettuce again?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. It's the first time I've been asked that question. Are you eating lettuce recently?
I should always have more lettuce.
Get out of here, Peter. No, it's a very interesting question from you. I didn't think you'd ask that kind of a question. Nobody wants to ask that question, but it's exciting.
There's this food coming in, I guess, from Mexico. It's tainted. It's making a lot of people sick. That is the CDC's terminology.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a major tariff on Mexico because of the lettuce, and we're going to put a big tariff on Canada because of the smoke. All right, we'll get a combo. Which would you have, the lettuce or the smoke? I think I'll take the smoke.
Yeah, the smoke wrecked my daughter's swim meet.
Well, it's closed up a lot of countries. I've told Canada they have to do something about it. You know, we've never had this problem. All of a sudden, we have this problem with Canada. So
yeah, because they're trying to smoke out the World Cup finals. I bet you Messi's got some respiratory issues right now.
We'll have to talk to them about that.
Yeah. Anyways, so there's that. We're gonna watch that whole Oval Office Q&A there in just a bit after we're done with the news. A guy named Karim Khan, who is a chief. No, we'll cover these tomorrow. You know why? Because I have a post-show watch party on Rumble only that's going to be involving the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Let's just say they're not looking very good right now. Okay, we've already dragged on 80-minute show already. Let's just get going. We'll add that to tomorrow's show. Next story. You guys remember that warehouse fire in California that I covered that was started because of solar panels? Well, they put out the fire. However, that was a refrigerated warehouse. Okay, they had 4 million tons of food in it. Okay, and because the refrigeration burnt down, that food has been rotting for weeks now. They have been trying to transport the food out of there, get it out of there, and they've so far only been able to remove like 1.6 million tons, guys. Okay, 1.6 million tons of this food. The remaining 3.5 million tons is rotting and has been rotting. Okay, there are mosquito, flies, and rodent infestations in this area. This is in the middle of a city. This isn't like the distribution centers where we all live, okay? Where we're in the city and the distribution center's far, far away because the land in the city is too expensive. Okay, they have to have the distribution in the city because the edge of the city is 50 miles away. Yeah, from Santa Monica all the way to Victorville, it's about 60 miles. That's just endless cities, city all the way to Victorville. It never ends. So there's not really any place with cheap land that you could put such a warehouse and it's like, oh, it's worth it. It's worth the drive. It's not worth the drive. There's traffic everywhere, you know? So they got to put the warehouse right in the middle. Anyways, it's rotting, guys. Here we go.
The smell of millions of pounds of rotting food is now presenting a new problem for neighbors of the Lineage warehouse in Boyle Heights, a major fly infestation.
KTLA's Angelique Cockaday is live in Boyle Heights with the latest on the ongoing problems there. Angelique.
Well, Sam and John, we've seen several folks out here today swatting away at flies and mosquitoes. We've also
Christian Moore says it smells like death out there. Wow, it's Christian Moore from that area. Wow, sorry, buddy. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, guys. Rotting food, millions of tons of it.
Spoken to several neighbors who say the latest infestation is just fueling their frustration. Neighbors who live near the Lineage warehouse facility in Boyle Heights say they're now having to deal with a fly and mosquito infestation.
The flies are kind of like bothering me. I try to like play outside over here and like they just try to like fly
around.
13-year-old Joshua Juarez says after weeks of pollution, foul odor, and rodents, he and his family can't catch a break.
Because they're like all over the garden. Now it's like infested because of it. And it's probably because of the company over there.
The latest issue so bad. On Monday, even cleanup crews could be seen swatting insects away. It's not clear when exactly the infestation started, but over the weekend, Cal Water confirmed a water main break about 10 blocks from the...
Oh, that's where the mosquitoes are coming from. I was like, go to the warehouse. You couldn't just like, sweep off some of that water? Holy shit. You had the water main break. Remember, we covered that as well. What timing? What timing? It's almost as if it's intentional, huh?
Facility. Officials say it was unrelated to the cleanup efforts and that it was fixed and water restored Sunday night. But some folks think the rotting smell combined with the flooding waters could be making conditions right for bugs, and that makes them even more scared.
Ooh, Kathy says it's the gases that's coming off of that. I'd love to see the methane levels. That is interesting because constant inhalation of that does cause lung cancer, right? I think. Anyways, wow. Oh, you're not from there, but your friend is. Wow. I thought your company was nearby there. Anyways, thank you for your insight, Christian.
Yes, you can smell it. You can smell the bad odor. You can feel it in your eyes, and there's a lot of mosquitoes that come here and enter the rooms, and yes, flies too. And that's dangerous because they sting you, they come and bite you, and I don't want that kind of sickness.
The fly issue comes just days after a heated community meeting where residents voiced their frustration towards Lineage executives and city officials, demanding faster cleanup. Despite 1.4 million pounds of solid waste having already been removed, there's still another 3.2 million that needs to be taken out.
That's a lot of millions, man.
Here is myself, my life.
So a million pounds of food, not million tons of food.
Everything.
Now, Mayor Bass had previously given a deadline of 45 days for the cleanup effort here to be completely done, but that was 2 weeks ago, and now there's really no end in sight. We're now reporting live in Boyle Heights. Angelique Hockaday, back over to you in the Hollywood.
Wow. What a mess. Next story. President Trump yesterday, he made this statement here. Now, I thought he was just trolling. And then I watched an extended version by Insider Paper. He might actually do it. He might actually run in 2028. Listen to this.
Okay, but we are all doing good together. That's why tonight, to show just how much I care about the press, and I want to save your ratings, I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States.
He says, here's a scoop. Yeah, he's giving them a scoop. He announced it here. At least he says he is. It's a little, I believe it's a little bit outside of the campaign financing window. So he might just be kidding. I don't know. But he says it in a way where he's sincere.
Somewhat of a scoop. My intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official. In fact, I think I have. Yeah. I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you. I'm going to do it. Should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the second time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we'll have to talk about it. You know, it's interesting, when you come back and you do a good job like we did, you don't care about it so much, but we do have to tighten up these elections because they really are in seriously bad shape.
Wow. So we're gonna watch this is from the White House Correspondents' Dinner from last night. We're gonna watch that whole thing after the press gag. So Trump did the announcement for the American nuclear energy thing. We're gonna watch that real quick. That's not too long. It's like 20 minutes long. And then we will watch the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We did stream last night, but I'd never seen a White House Correspondents' Dinner thing before. I had no idea that it was like 3 hours long, and the first 2 hours is just them, a big circle jerk. They're just patting themselves on the back. Oh, we do so good as journalists. We're so important. We're so vital to the world. And they're giving each other awards and shit. Like, you guys are fucking liars, all of you. you know? So I got tired of it. We shut it down, and we're just going to watch Trump's speech while he's going to roast everyone. Pretty hilarious. You know, he actually at some point calls Caitlin Collins. He calls her Dylan Mulvaney. Which is funny because I had in the past said that I used to have a roommate that looks just like Caitlin Collins. My roommate's name was Steven. Okay? She's got a jaw like a fighter, you know what I mean? Yeah, anyways. Thank you, Commander John, for the super chat. He said, I will be voting for Trump in 2028. We will do it. I hope so. I'll tell you what, because, you know, had they just let him be president, you know, and not fucked him over, both of his terms over, and block everything he wanted to do, he would have been done by now. He would have been done in 2024, with just 2 terms, and, you know, everything would just move on from it. But they keep screwing over his administration and what he wants to do. He's going to need another term to do it, and he's legally allowed to. Yes, you're not allowed more than 2 consecutive terms, and he's only been 1 consecutive term so far. And technically, he didn't really get a full first term or a full second term because they keep fucking him over, right? So I hope I at this point, you know, I was hoping to get done. They got done with so much, or tried to get done with so much in the first 6 months, that I was kind of like, oh my God, this is great. Like, I think Rubio's ready to take over. He can fix Latin America. We're not even done fixing what's our problems here in America. And that's what he was supposed to be focused on, right? But it's been hard because he keep blocking us. So I hope he runs for a 3rd term. I hope it's him versus Obama. I want to see that so bad. Holy crap. Anyways, so we're gonna watch that whole thing, but first we're gonna watch the nuclear energy one, and then we'll watch the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But before that, guys, remember I have other channels to follow. Frank's Funny Shorts, as well as Frank's Show Clips. Thank you to those who've been hyping videos on this big channel here. But if you can, please hype videos on that channel right there. You only get 3 hypes per week. And when you hype a big channel like this one, it only gets like 100 points. If you have a channel that has a few subscribers like that one, it gets like 2,000. So it helps that channel a whole lot more. And thank you for your help. If you can help support that one, thank you very much. Cash App, buy me a coffee, subscribe to our Patreon. Always you can support the channel, or you can be like Zombie and buy a membership. It's $3 a month and helps keep the channel alive. You can also buy a membership on Rumble. It's $5 a month, and you get access to our Rumble Premium Hangouts where we talk about food and pets. Yeah, it's $5 a month. Campbell has one. Jillian has one. Mary has one. Thank you very much. And also you can buy that over on Foxhole as well. I don't know how much it is on Foxhole, but you get a cool tag next to your name that says Frank's Hands. Buck, buck, buck. Yeah. 11 months. Well, you know, I didn't know you were a member for that long. Thank you so much. Anyways, let's keep going with this presser, Q&A, and as well as the White House Correspondents' Dinner speech. Here we go.
Well, thank you very much. This is going to be very interesting because we're going to be talking about nuclear. It's a wave of the future. We have the most brilliant people in the world standing behind me that were big into the world of nuclear, like my uncle was at MIT. My uncle was very big into nuclear for 41 years at MIT, but they've advanced somewhat since those days, I think, I hope. So today we're celebrating a historic milestone for civilian nuclear energy and the incredible renaissance of nuclear power in America. I want to thank Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum, they're fantastic, 2 incredible people, Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, Michael Kretzios, Director of the National Energy Dominance Council, Jared Agin, U.S. Chief Technology Officer Ethan Klein, and Director of Idaho National Laboratory John Wagner. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. It's a big day. I also want to recognize and congratulate CEO of Antares Nuclear, Jordan Bramble, CEO of Valar Atomics, Isaiah Taylor, CEO of Deployable, not deplorable. Remember Hillary? Deplorable. Hopefully your company's going to work out a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck. Deployable Energy, Bobby Gallagher, and CEO of Allo Atomics, Matt Lozak. Thank you all for being with us. Last year I signed 4 historic executive orders to reignite a wave of progress in America's nuclear power production and promote this abundant, affordable, unlimited supply of energy for the American people. As part of this effort, I directed Secretary of Energy Chris Wright to establish a pilot program for advanced reactors and see at least 3 cutting-edge reactors started up safely by the 4th of July. And what we've done has been pretty much of a miracle. Most believe the goal was impossible, but I'm delighted to say that 4 companies succeeded in meeting that deadline, for the greatest in the world at this subject. So these are the first new privately funded advanced reactors to turn on the United States in over 4 decades, and making sure that these groundbreaking designs were safe to build and test so quickly was a challenge that required a historic partnership between these innovative companies and our administration. We have brilliant nuclear people. We have a lot of brilliant people, but we have brilliant nuclear people on our staff. In the past, it often took 6 years or more to approve a reactor design, if they were ever approved at all. Most of them didn't get approved, and maybe rightfully so. But now America is building again, America is dreaming again, and we're leading the world and pioneering the next generation of nuclear power. There's nobody even close. We've taken a lead over the last 2 years that has been, I hope, insurmountable. We'll see. But let me ask Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, Michael Kratsios, who's been...
Oh, thank you very much, Kevman, for the donation. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin!
Absolutely fantastic in the administration. To say a few words, followed by a few of the people. Let's see, Chris Wright will go, and Jordan Bramble, and Isaiah Taylor, then Bobby Gallagher, and Matt Luzik. And if you could, don't spend too much time. That's a lot of people. But go ahead, and do you want to start it off, Chris, please?
We have Michael Kratsios first.
Sure, go ahead, Michael.
Mr. President, you signed 4 executive orders last year, and you set one of the most ambitious goals in civil nuclear history to essentially have 3 reactors go critical by the 4th of July. This is an accomplishment that many thought would not be possible. The last time that a privately funded new reactor design went critical was in 1974, so it was over 50 years ago, and we were able to achieve that and surpass it by having 4, and these are the great 4 American companies that got it done.
Great. Go ahead, please.
In the last 30 or 40 years, the American nuclear industry has been quiescent. Most of the reactors built around the world have been built by Russia and China, both in their countries and abroad. President Trump said enough of that. America is going to be back as the leader in the nuclear space, in large reactors and in next generation small reactors. He set a bold goal. It's been exceeded, and I'm incredibly proud to be standing here with these fabulous entrepreneurs next to me.
And brilliant science people, too, really. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you so much for your leadership. It was really your executive orders that catalyzed this nuclear renaissance. When they first came out, people scoffed at them. They said it couldn't be done. And now there's not only 3 companies, but 4 companies here that really met the moment. Us at Antares, we look forward to being a resilient energy source for Golden Dome, to power high-powered assets in space, and eventually undersea autonomy. So this is a strategic technology for our nation. And what we look forward to doing is putting reactors on our military installations before 2028.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, please, go ahead.
And Mr. President, thank you so much for your leadership in this moment. I think that the United States has been a leader in nuclear energy since the very beginning. We were the first ever to turn on an advanced reactor in the world. We were also the first to turn on any type of nuclear reactor in the world. But over the last 30 years, we became more interested in PowerPoint than in power plants. And it's your leadership that is changing that. The executive orders that were signed last year, I think if you look forward in 50 to 100 years when we have nuclear power of every kind that's allowing us to make steel again, to make aluminum again, to actually be able to go to outer space and all the places that humanity wants to go, you could trace it back to the executive orders that started last year. So we're honored to serve our country and be a part of this. And thank you again for your leadership.
Thank you. Great job. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for setting such an audacious, bold goal. As some of the other CEOs have said, most people thought this was impossible. But the American spirit was unlocked through your vision and through the Department of Energy and the Secretary and through the INL and John's team. We couldn't be more proud to be part of this moment. I do think this is going to be historic. I do think people are going to look back and believe that this is when the tide turned on nuclear and how we unlock cheap and abundant energy.
Thank you. It's a great job you're doing too, by the way. Anybody else?
Yeah, one more. We cut it close, but we went critical at 12:20 a.m. on the 4th of July.
Wow.
So thank you again so much for setting these executive orders. Like everyone else said, we would not be here without those executive orders, so thank you so much. And what it's unlocking for us is this year we are going to be raising $1 billion, moving into a 1 million square foot facility, and our target market is data centers. So we're making the ideal nuclear product to power AI data centers with bring your own power. That's our whole goal. So thank you once again for unlocking this, and we really, really cannot be here without you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have anything to say?
Sure. Go ahead. No, I would just say, I mean, this is exactly why you created the Energy Dominance Council, that you wanted to unlock new forms of energy. People ask us all the time about green energy, and I say, if you want to invest in green energy, invest in nuclear. That's the kind of energy that's going to solve the energy demand that's out there, and that's baseload energy that's going to solve our solutions, and that's the energy of the future.
Sure. Thank you.
Well, I would just add, we invented nuclear power in this country. At Idaho National Laboratory, first demonstrated nuclear power in 1951. After that, 52 different reactors were designed and tested there. But it's been, prior to the last couple of months with these gentlemen, it has been more than 50 years since we had a new reactor go critical on our site. And I have to say that in all my years, and I've been around for a while, I've never seen government, private industry, and the laboratories working together this effectively. And it's all driven by the bold goals in your executive orders. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. So, first of all, maybe you have some questions for the people behind me. Please, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. President. I want to ask about the Saudi nuclear deal. This man over your shoulder announces a big deal after 18 months of negotiating with the Saudis. Seems like it's all done, it's signed, and then you come out, throw some new conditions on top of it. The whole thing blows up. So did he get out ahead of you, or what happened there?
No, nobody got out ahead. I mean, I just say that in order to do it, they have to be a member of the Abraham Accords, which have been very successful. But it's time now that they do it. They and others didn't want to do it because of the problem that they had with Iran. You don't have that problem anymore. You don't have a great power there anymore. You have a problem, but the problem is disappearing day by day. They were the bully of the Middle East. They were not going to be that much of a bully anymore. They'll probably, I think, instinctively want to be. But you don't have the same problem that you would have had 4 or 5 months ago, before they had no navy, no military, no anti-aircraft, no leaders. I mean, their leaders are gone. A lot of things have changed with respect to that country. So, no, we want them to. It's a two-way street, and we think it's very important for the future of the Middle East. The Abraham Accords have been incredibly successful for the countries, as you know, for the countries in them. And I think it's very important. So, at some point they'll join, and they'll do their civil. It's to echo it's civil nuclear, but that's what it is. No enrichment. It's civil nuclear.
A question about Iran. You're talking about blowing up civilian power plants and bridges. Much of the civilized world would consider that a war crime. Do you?
I won't respond to that question. Who are you with?
The New York Times.
I figured so. Failing New York Times. Yeah, please.
Javier Negra from Real America's Voice in Español. I just came back from Venezuela, and people there are very happy with you.
Right.
With Secretary Marco Rubio, with Secretary Wright.
You have good poll numbers in Venezuela.
Pretty amazing. I know some huge plans for there, and they are amazing. I want to give you thank you. I want to ask you one question, because some people there, they are asking that. When will there be elections? Do you have a date in mind? Senator Bernie Moreno said that July 24, 2027 could be a good day in honor of Simon Bolivar. And my second question is, the football player who scored Spain's goal in the final at World Cup, Ferran Torres, celebrate the victory wearing a Make Spain Great Again cap. The communists are attacking him because they say that it's a friend of you, and also they are attacking Argentinian players because of Milei. What do you think about that?
Well, he's a great player, and he was wearing essentially a Make America Great Again cap. So it was a nice tribute, and I think he meant that very nicely. We appreciate it. We've made America great. We have the greatest country in the world now. I will say this: we were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, this country was in deep trouble. We had borders that were a disaster. We had everything you could possibly have, including men playing in women's sports. Even the Supreme Court's taken care of most of that problem.
But we had a country that was in big trouble. It was being laughed at all over the world. We have the hottest country. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. So I saw him wearing the essentially "Make America Great Again" hat. And I know that he meant it as a very great compliment, and we appreciate it. As far as the elections in Venezuela, they're not really ready for them yet, but boy, a lot of progress has been made. Delcy's been doing a fantastic job, as you know. The amount of oil coming out of Venezuela right now, even before the big companies, Exxon, all the big companies are looking at it, they're going there. It's very fertile territory. But the amount of money being made by Venezuela now is more than they've ever made before, and we're taking a lot also for our efforts. And the money is being sent, and the oil is being sent to Houston and Louisiana to be refined. And we paid for the war many times over. It's been an amazing fact, and as you say, I'm very popular in Venezuela because we're bringing tremendous economics back to the country. And they were absolutely dying. They were in such trouble. And now Venezuela is becoming extremely successful. They're taking in billions of dollars, selling millions and millions of barrels of oil, and we're getting some, and they're getting some, and everybody's making a lot. And it was dead before we got there. So it's been an incredible relationship. They're not ready yet for the elections, but at some point they will be, and we're going to be standing right on top of it. And say hello. I've known them for a long time. I've known that country, and I own the Miss Universe pageant, and Miss Venezuela always did very well in that pageant. So I know something about the country, but I've known it for a long time. They're great people. Say hello, okay?
Mr. President.
Peter?
About Iran, what is the exit strategy?
Well, I think there's a lot of them. There's a military exit where we just keep going just the way we are, and we can even make it a heavier dose, and it's knocking out everything they have. Or there's a smarter strategy, and that's you make a deal. And they want to make a deal. I just don't think they're ready yet, but they do want to make a deal. Sometimes they don't want to say they want to make a deal. They want to be the tough guys, but they do want to make a deal. There's two ways. I mean, it's you can just keep doing exactly what we're doing and take them apart piece by piece. We can do it in a more rapid fashion, which we might do, or we can negotiate with them, which we're also doing right now. I mean, as we speak, we're talking to them.
And you said today that Russia and China are not helping. Earlier this week, the War Secretary Hegseth said that they are enabling. So what is the difference?
Well, I don't know that they're enabling. I mean, I will tell you that President Xi said he will not partake, and President Putin said the same thing. I think, I trust them. They've had a long-term relationship. There could be some things they do, but thus far, at least, it has not been major. I don't think they'd want to have me disappointed.
And a different story, not Iran. There's this nasty parasite that is giving people in 9 states explosive diarrhea. When is it going to be safe to eat lettuce again?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. It's the first time I've been asked that question. Are you eating lettuce recently?
I should always have more lettuce.
You want to get the hell out of here, Peter. No, it's a very interesting question from you. I didn't think you'd ask that kind of a question. Nobody wants to ask that question, but it's exciting.
There's this food coming in, I guess, from Mexico. It's tainted. It's making a lot of people sick. That is the CDC's terminology.
Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a major tariff on Mexico because of the lettuce, and we're going to put a big tariff on Canada because of the smoke. All right, we'll get a combo. Which would you have there? The lettuce?
Thank you very much, David Stores, for the donation. Thank you, David. Thank you. You're keeping the channel alive. Thank you, buddy.
So the smoke. I think I'll take the smoke.
The smoke wrecked my daughter's swim meet.
Well, it's closed up a lot of countries. I've told Canada they have to do something about it. We've never had this problem. All of a sudden we have this problem with Canada. So we'll have to talk to them about that.
Mr. President, follow up on Iran. Thank you, sir. Follow up on Iran. Have you made a decision about the major strikes that you were referring to? Okay. Should we expect to see major strikes?
Look, we're talking to them right now. I think they're getting more and more serious as the days go by, for maybe the obvious reason.
but we are talking to them right now. Look, there are two ways. I consider that the smarter way, but the other is probably the easier way, doing what we're doing. And we can take that to a much higher level if we want to. You know, we're prepared to do that, as you know. We're locked and loaded. We're locked and loaded and ready to go, but we're talking to them, so I think while we're talking, we'll see what comes of it.
And when you say, just a quick
I believe, Jeff, they're very serious. They should be.
And when you
We're
say
very
that
serious.
you're talking, is it Mr. Kushner or Mr. Witkoff, or who's involved in those talks?
Sort of everybody. JD and Marco and a lot of people are talking to. A lot of people to talk to. It's a big deal. But really, when you get right down to it, it's not very complex. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. You know, very simple actually, but it's a big deal. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they have even a thought of a nuclear weapon, we will just continue to go at much higher levels. But we are talking right now, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm not, you know, despite what everyone says about the election, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. We have to do it right. Elections take care of themselves. When when I went into Venezuela, everybody was against it. Oh, what are you doing going into Venezuela? And then 2 days later, they said, wow, that's fantastic. A lot of people are saying that with Iran already, because it would take them 25 years to rebuild already from what they have. And again, as you know, no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft, no radar, no nothing. I mean, and we, as you know, we just reinstituted I guess you could go, I call it the iron wall on the water. Nothing gets through. Nothing. Blockade. Nothing gets through. And they sort of have to make a deal. But we are talking to them. I think they're being serious. I think they are being by far the most serious that we've seen them. But that doesn't mean we get there. We'll see what happens. But I always prefer that alternative.
Mr. President, I have an energy question. So, Burgum, you might be able to help with this. So, you have criticized windmills for quite a long time. They're very ugly. They tend to use more energy than they actually produce.
That's true.
A lot of people in
done your homework.
A lot of people in Middle America, they are so tired of seeing them continue to go up on farmland and stuff like that. Is there any way to? Is our federal government still funding in any way putting these up?
We have. I can speak for Doug, and then I'm going to let Doug speak because he knows the subject. I really do know that subject well. We have not approved anything having to do with windmills. They are horrible. They are unsightly. They ruin housing values of people. If you're looking at a windmill or hearing a windmill because they're noisy, they kill all the birds. They kill all the eagles. You know, if you shoot an eagle, you go to jail for 2 years. If you kill an eagle with a windmill, you don't go to jail, and they have hundreds of them laying on the ground. You know, it's terrible. And they're very expensive energy. And they're all made in China, but China has very few windmills. You know, they're made in China, but China doesn't use them for the most part. China actually uses coal, oil and gas. They use nuclear, by the way. They're getting very big in nuclear, I want to tell you, this little group. But they don't use wind. Wind is inconsistent. It's unattractive. It's very expensive. It's probably the most expensive form of energy. So I've been talking about it. We essentially, unless there's a trick reason, we will have hopefully no wind farms approved. We're doing more than anybody ever in history having to do with energy. But I've restricted wind farms, windmills. Take a look at Palm Springs, California, where they have a wind farm. As you enter beautiful Palm Springs, California, it looks like a junkyard. You have old ones, rotted ones, they're falling down all over the place. They don't want to bury it because they say the fiber that the blades are made out of should not go in the ground because it's going to poison the ground. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but if it's not going to go in the ground, what do you do with it? Put it up in the air?
Yeah.
So, good. I see you're not a fan of windmills.
No, I'm not a fan of windmills,
Then
Mr.
you have to
President.
be
I'm
very
very
smart.
passionate about this.
Doug, do you want to speak about that first?
Well, no, but I would say, yes, President Trump has wisely understood that wind was unreliable, intermittent, depended on the weather, only existed particularly offshore because of massive subsidies. So not only was it expensive to generate electricity on the grid, it was also expensive for taxpayers because of the subsidies. And so again, President Trump shifting the policy towards energy dominance, which is reliable, affordable, 7x24 energy that's not dependent on the weather. And that includes nuclear, includes hydro, includes geothermal, includes oil and gas, includes beautiful coal. And again, China, 60% of their electricity is coming from coal. Coal was the #1 electric producer in the world 125 years ago. And it was for the last 125 years in a row, and it will be again this year. 126, quite a streak if you're an athletic team that they've won 126 years in a row. But
But we were restricted from using it.
Yeah.
Every coal mine was going to be closed down within the next year if we didn't win the election. And it's I call it clean, beautiful coal, because it is. What they do today with coal is amazing. But it is the most powerful, and with that, go ahead.
Well, as you say, under President Trump's leadership, and then working together as a team across government with Chris Wright, Lee Zeldin, Energy Dominance Council, we've kept open 35 gigawatts of coal this last year, and of that, 35 gigawatts was not up. This past winter, during the cold streak and Storm Fern, we would have seen brownouts, blackouts, and literally people dying in America during that cold weather. So again, President Trump's the elections matter. When he came in, he turned the direction back towards reliable, affordable energy. Nuclear is a key part of that with these amazing entrepreneurs. And I just would add to this up here. People need to understand, the four guys that are standing up here did not get a government grant. This is private sector. President Trump unleashed capital going back in, billions of dollars of capital going back into the nuclear industry. President Trump understands innovation is the source of American greatness. You get rid of the regulation, you support entrepreneurs, the capital flows, America wins.
And Mr. Secretary, the starting for this nuclear, dominance, what does that look like for the American people out there? Like, what are those first steps that we can see in these coming months and years?
Well, I just gonna say, I'll go on. You can see it right now because when you take a look across the whole world, President Trump's policies, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Alaska, whether it's reinstating export for 18 months ago, we had a ban on LNG exports from our country. Now we're the world's largest exporter of LNG. President Trump's policy was let's sell energy to our friends and allies, keep it affordable at home, so our friends and allies can stop buying from our adversaries. Russia was selling virtually all of the natural gas into Western Europe. 2/3 of that gas has been displaced by America. America has turned those into our customers, supporting our allies. And with Venezuela, as President Trump said, that flowing to our refineries on the South Coast, that's lowering gas prices for America. Unleashing Alaska, which the previous administration sanctioned more than Iran, that's going to again help provide low-cost energy for Americans. So today we have the lowest priced, most secure energy of any country in the world. That's going to change the course of this country for the decades to come.
Mr. President, what? The Justice Department last night withdrew those subpoenas to the New York Times journalists who reported on Air Force One. Do you support these type of subpoenas to journalists, or are you going to encourage the administration?
We're not after journalists. We're after leakers. We're after people that are cowards, people that are unpatriotic, people that are treasonous in many cases. And the way you find them is through the journalists, when the journalists probably know they shouldn't write. They shouldn't be giving information out like that particular information or others. We had a lot of, look at the Supreme Court where they leaked the opinion of Roe v. Wade early. That person should be found. And the way you find them is to tell the journalist, if it's something having to do with national security, you tell the journalist, who is it? And we have a long way to go with that case.
So you think it's appropriate to subpoena family members of journalists to find out information?
What's that again?
There were subpoenas to family members of the journalists.
I don't know what's appropriate, what's not. We do it legally. Barack Hussein Obama did it all the time. He went after journalists and nobody said anything about it. He went after journalists. They said, who was the leaker? Who was the leaker? And if you don't give us the leaker, you go into jail. You know that. But when Obama does it, it's okay. When I do it, it's not. In many cases, that's the only way you're going to find out who a leaker is, and it has to do with national security. It's amazing. He did it many times, and nobody said anything about it. But when a Republican does it, when in particular Trump does it, everybody makes a big deal. Now, the way you find out is you say to the journalist, if it's national security, I would say, I really put it down to national security, not in all cases, but when you have somebody doing a national security leak or a leak of great importance, and you have somebody inside the walls of, let's say, the White House leaking, I think that's a national security concern. I think it's absolutely fine. And again, I'm not knocking Obama for doing it. I'm knocking the press for not even wanting to cover it. But Obama did that often. Other presidents have done it also. They go to the journalist or the reporter. They say, national security, who gave you this information? I'm okay with that.
Mr. President, did you authorize First Secretary Wright to sign the Saudi nuclear deal? If not, why did he sign it?
Well, we didn't talk about it, but it was always understood, and Chris knew, and Saudi Arabia knew, that if they didn't join the Abraham Accords, the deal's not, I'm not going to do the deal.
So then why did he sign it?
Senator John.
Because they understood that in order, subject to Congress and everything else, in order for that deal to go through, they had to sign into the Abraham Accords. And they've had great success. The Abraham Accords have been very successful. But in order to do that, we wanted them, we want them in. We think it's very good. We think the Abraham Accords bring peace in the Middle East. And now there's no longer an Iran factor. There's no longer Iran to worry about because they've been reduced in terms of their capability and power by many-fold.
Thank you. Senator John Thune has suggested that if the White House thinks that there are votes to pass the Save America Act, you should be picking up the phone.
Who are you with?
I'm with the Washington Examiner, sir. Could you be doing more to help that legislation pass?
Well, I do more. I got 3 congressmen, maybe 4, to settle, to send it to the Senate. We got the vote, as you know, in Congress. I got a call from Mike Johnson, who's fantastic. He's a fantastic speaker, one of the best I've ever seen, and I think he's going to go down as one of the best. He called. He said, we have problems with 3 or 4 people. Could you call them? I called them. Every one of them, after I called them, voted, and we got it passed up to the Senate. And I'd certainly be willing. I mean, he's got 4 or 5 people that are very difficult. A couple of them I put out of office, so I understand how it feels. I mean, they're doing the wrong thing. Look, who cannot approve voter ID? Who cannot approve proof of citizenship? Who cannot approve funding military when you're winning a war? And what are you supposed to do? Stop fighting? We're winning a war by a lot. We're talking to them right now. They're willing to do things that they would have never done. Other presidents should have done this a long time ago. They say 47, but now it's actually 50 years. We've been saying 47 for 3 years. So it's 50 years. For 50 years, they should have done it. But who wouldn't approve voter ID? And that's photo ID. Who wouldn't approve proof of citizenship? And the Democrats don't want it because they cheat. But no Republican should put us in a position where they don't approve something like that. Yeah, please.
And then earlier today, you reposted Lara Loomer's interview with President Zelensky. What do you make of growing MAGA support for the war in war in Ukraine, sorry?
Well, I think they support what I support. We just had a complete win in Arizona. The young gentleman who's Harry Enton, I believe his name is, the pollster, said Trump's 100% favorable. He gets everybody endorses wins, which is pretty much true. Everyone I endorse, just about, wins. So there seems to be a natural bond between me and MAGA, but I'm the one that created MAGA, and I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. MAGA knows what MAGA wants, and MAGA is very happy. They want to see this done, and they're not going to be happy if it's not done. Make America great again. It's all about make America. We started that a long time ago. But the concept of not approving voter ID or not approving proof of citizenship, and I won't even get into the ballot thing because, we'll hold that maybe for another time. I think the two are 97, 98% issues. I think the ballots are 75% issue. But even at 75, they should do the ballots. The ballots are in many ways more important than even the first 2. But they're a little more controversial because some people don't want to go and vote. But most great Americans want to go and vote. The corrupt ballot stuff that you saw that with the recent election in Los Angeles, the mayor's election, where the young guy, I don't know him, I came to the office recently after he lost, and they find all these ballots all of a sudden out of they came down from heaven, hundreds of thousands of ballots. Isn't it wonderful? He had no chance of losing, Spencer Pratt. He had no chance. He was going to be in second place or first place. But, I saw it happen. I said, oh, he's not going to win. He had to beat somebody. He was way up on a person that nobody ever heard of, a young woman who nobody ever heard of. She cried that night that she lost. But all of a sudden, time went by, and the election's long over. And I heard a report that Spencer Pratt's not doing that well. I said, watch, he's going to lose. And he lost. It's crooked. We have crooked elections in some places.
President Trump, today it was announced LeBron James has decided that he wants his next team to be the 76ers. Where do you stand on LeBron versus Michael Jordan as the best ever?
Well, Michael Jordan's a guy that's a friend of mine. Play golf with him. He's a really good guy. And I think LeBron is, maybe he's a racist, but maybe he doesn't like Trump. I don't know. But I only like people that like me. So I would say Michael Jordan all the way.
And another sports question. When Tiger Woods was about to get arrested, he called you. Yeah. Now we know that when Bryson DeChambeau was having a dispute with a rules official this week, he wanted to call you. You got involved with a red card for the U.S. men's soccer team. Is there a precedent for somebody with your job becoming a fixer for the world's best athletes?
Well, it's not a fixer, being a judge. I thought the Bryson call was a tough call. I saw him walking around. I see a lot of people, they're walking around looking for their ball in weeds, okay? But I've been watching that, so, I thought it was a tough call against him. I thought the red card was a very tough call. And it worked out brilliantly. Look, supposing that they didn't let him play and we lost, everyone would have been angry, right? The way it was that they lost with their best player. Now everyone's happy, including Belgium. Of course, they lost the next game, so they're not that happy either. But it worked out great. Johnny did a good job in making that call. All I asked for a review. I thought that call was not a good call.
Mr. President, the White House responded.
Mr. President, your administration announced new tariffs today, and you did a post earlier also about a probe against the EU. Are you confident that the new tariffs and any tariffs that may come from this probe will withstand legal scrutiny?
Well, these tariffs have been up for a long time. They've been approved for years, thousands of cases they've been approved. Of course, with me, it's different. I'm different. I go up. I don't get treated fairly, but I've lived with it. And here we are in the Oval Office. I guess I somehow figured it out. But no, we put the tariffs on. They're very standard tariffs. The other way was easier. I thought the decision by the Supreme Court was not a good one. But we have many forms of tariffs, and all we did is go to B. Follow the line B. Now, B is something that's been used many, many times for years and very standard. And we've used that, and we're taking in billions of dollars. And because of tariffs, largely, I think the election, November 5th, but largely because of tariffs, we have $19.2 trillion being invested in our country. And without tariffs, we wouldn't, would be in big trouble. Think of it. So the Sleepy Joe Biden administration has less than $1 trillion being invested, much less for 4 years. We have $19.2 trillion for 1 year. There's never been anything like it in history. That's because of tariffs. So the Supreme Court said, please do it a different way. You have other ways to do it, and we did that.
Last month, you said Iran.
You told Axios.
Child labor was one of the things that USTR cited as a reason.
Well, it seems to be that that's what they decided. They go all over the world and they look and they examine and they see and they see. And child labor was one of the things that one of the reasons, and they had a big problem with that. Yeah.
You told Axios that you were considering a quote massive attack on Iran. What is the tipping point for you to make the decision?
Well, I can't tell you that. Right now we're talking to them, so maybe there won't be a tipping point, and maybe there will. And we're ready to go. Look, we're locked and loaded. We're ready to go, but we're talking to them. So maybe there will be, maybe there won't be a tipping point.
But at what point with Iran do you think they're going to cry uncle and actually come to the table?
Well, maybe they will cry uncle, or maybe they'll just give up, or maybe they'll just go into a cave and hide. They have caves very deep in the ground, and they can hide. They get shaken up pretty good, but they can hide. But we've taken out their first level of leadership. We've then taken out their second level of leadership. We've taken out some of the third level, and we're negotiating with the rest. And we'll see how it all works. And right now we are talking to them seriously, but I've talked to them before, and they don't seem to be able to get there. Maybe now they will. But, look, if I thought they were anywhere near getting a nuclear weapon, if I wasn't elected, Israel would, in my opinion, not be around anymore. They would have been hit by a nuclear weapon. And that includes right at the beginning with Barack Hussein Obama's nuclear deal that was so bad with Iran. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. And maybe even more so, the B-2 bombers. If that plane right there, that beautiful plane, the wing, it carries the largest bombs in the world. If that bomb didn't go over their 17-hour flight, and it hit every one of those bombs, hit their target, and the target was an air shaft at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's hard to believe, right? Going at very tremendous speeds. Every one of them hit and blew it to hell. If that didn't happen, they would have had a nuclear weapon, and there would be no Israel. If I wasn't here, if I wasn't president, there would be no Israel, and there probably would be no Middle East. And you saw that when they shockingly started shooting at everybody all over the Middle East. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used that. There might not be a Middle East as we know it today, but there definitely, in my opinion, there would not have been an Israel. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for all the questions.
I gotta fast forward to the copyright music. Sorry, here we go.
Beautiful, but this has not been an easy evening, all these awards. Do I have a say in those awards, all those awards? But it's great to be back at a place that I know very well because I built it. And I'm very proud of it because I built it for $2.9 billion less than the Federal Reserve building, which is a lot smaller, by the way. Figure that one out. But I am delighted to be here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Amazing people, a lot of people that I like. Some I don't like at all. But I respect most of them, I must say that. You do a great job, amazing job, and it's an honor. As I said 3 months ago, the show must go on. We were backstage, and we both wanted to just have it go on, whether it was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, it didn't matter. But in the end, it made more sense to do it the way we're doing it. And we had a great news conference at the White House, in a very important room. And you did very well. I think we all did very well. It was a hell of an evening, I can tell you that. Won't soon be forgotten. And I think a lot was learned from that evening. A tremendous amount was learned about security and about other things, the dangers of what we all do. But just like my presidency, the second time is always better. It's always better. And the third time will be better yet. I'm only kidding. From the earliest moments after the attack on our dinner last April, I knew we had to reschedule this event as soon as possible. We had to do it very quickly, and we met very quickly, and we figured something out. But the attempted mass murder at the Washington Hilton, that's what it could have been, was an assault on our democracy itself. Very serious situation. Many of you were there with me, and some showed extreme bravery, like Pete Hegseth, Steve Miller, Tom Holman. Really? They were standing on tables, and most of you were under the tables, okay? But they did. They showed. I saw every one of them that was standing up in those tables. I didn't know if they were brave, if they were smart, if they were stupid as hell. But they were on those tables in some cases, and there were a lot of different feelings going on in the room at that moment. But after hearing the gunshots, many people yelled, "Get down, get down," which caused Nicki Minaj to start twerking. Do you believe it? Get down. She's the only one that really understood what that meant. It's quite an evening. But tonight we come back together to answer that heinous attack with unwavering resolve. And every one of us here this evening to show that in America we do not yield to political violence. We can't do that. Can't do it. So in this country, we believe in freedom of speech. We settle our differences not with bullets, but with open and vigorous debate. And no deranged loser with a gun will ever change that. We can't let that ever happen. There are a lot of very dangerous people out there. We can't let it happen. I want to begin by expressing our gratitude to the incredible men and women who put their lives on the line every day to protect my family and myself, all presidents, and lots of others. That's the United States Secret Service, so I appreciate it very much. And Sean and the whole group, amazing job. Amazing job. In recent months, they've repeatedly responded to threats with speed and professionalism and extraordinary courage, and there is no better example of that than Officer Victor Gonzalez, who we just met. It was amazing. What he did was amazing. When the would-be assassin charged the checkpoint at speed, he was fast. You know, when you looked at that, you had to look at it about 10 times before you really saw what was going on. He was quick. Nasty. The gun made him nasty, actually. But Officer Gonzalez engaged the attacker without hesitation and took a bullet to the chest after his ballistic vest, fortunately, was on, saved his life. And Victor did not even want to go to the hospital for a checkup. We insisted, really, we wanted him to do it. We insisted, but he didn't want to go. So to Officer Gonzalez, Secret Service, Metropolitan Police, law enforcement generally, and even all of the military who surround us in the room tonight, we salute you and we thank you with all of our hearts. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. Great job. These are great people. So this evening we're picking up right where we left off, so let's have a little bit of fun. You know, I said, what do we do here? Is this supposed to be fun? Am I supposed to be serious? Am I supposed to be a comedian? So I guess you said maybe a little bit of everything. I know one thing, I could never have done the speech that I had ready just a short while. Oh, that was going to be a doozy. I was so psyched. I was going to rip people. And I don't know, just something changed. It's really for the better, but I just wouldn't want to do that. But we'll do a little ripping if you don't mind. But it is true. I said, how do we handle this? It's going to be a different kind of an evening, and it is. And in many ways, it's a more beautiful evening, actually. Everyone's looking really good tonight, and I know it was not easy finding shoes to go along with your bulletproof vest, which many people didn't want to wear because they'd rather die than look 20 pounds heavier. You know that, right? We have that a lot. They put one on me. I said, are you sure I'm not wearing this? No, you look exactly 20. They say, sir, it's about 21 pounds. I said, not good. But I want to thank the outgoing president of the White House Correspondents' Dinner Association. Now, she won't admit it, and she should not admit it, but we sort of became friendly. You know, in times of stress, on occasion, you become friendly. I have a lot of respect for Ouija, and I tell you, we went through a little bit of a war together. It turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty good because of a lot of good people. They stopped the tragedy, so I want to thank you very much. Fantastic job. And Ouija worked extremely hard to ensure this dinner was rescheduled, and We want to just thank her family. I just met her parents, her children, her husband. What a perfect family. So it's really great. Thank you very much, all, for putting up with this. For putting up with this, right? But let me also thank the incoming president of the Correspondents Association, Jackie Heinrich. She can be very tough as a reporter, I will tell you. She can be nasty. She looks so beautiful, but she can be so nasty. How could that happen? But she just got married to a very successful congressman, a very good congressman. I'd like to have a couple of more votes from it. That's okay. On occasion. He shows a little independence. We don't like that. But now he's a very professional guy, and he loves our country. But that's a big thing. I just see what takes place. We're talking about what takes place to be in the position that you're leaving and that Jackie's coming into. And it's a lot of work, it's a lot of friendships, a lot of talent. And so, Jackie, congratulations. Right. And congratulations are also in order for our favorite White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who just had her second child. You and your husband. She's great. She's done a fantastic job. We all love her. She's done a fantastic job. She's another one. She can be nasty. But sometimes she has no choice, right? But Caroline may have one of the hardest jobs in the White House. She has to deal with all of you all of the time, and you can be very difficult. You can be very, very difficult people, but I'm probably being a little bit oversensitive. Sometimes I really do think that some of you don't like me. In fact, I read a report, I get 93% negative publicity. 93%. So how the hell did I win the election by so much? Think of it, I don't think that's true. I can't believe it's 93. In the 80s maybe, but not 93. But this place is really the largest group of Trump derangement syndrome people ever put together at one time, I suspect. But some of you are lucky that our last dinner was cut short because I had brought with me what would possibly have been, I'm telling you, I had something. I was going to go after you. I feel so badly doing this. It's got to be such a letdown. Oh, yay. But your lives were really in danger the last time for an opposite reason. But on the plus side, your careers were saved, and we really do. We have a complete and total. I love the words complete and total. They say, but it means almost the same thing. I said, it doesn't matter when you say it. It's called emphasis. It's called emphasis. But everyone is now really warming up. The new White House military center, drone port, highly protected ballroom. We have our ballroom. The windows are this thick. I said to the people, well, if a bullet hits, what happens? Nothing. Nothing. It bounces right off, sir. This is the greatest bulletproof glass. I said, AK-47. That's supposed to be a big one. I don't know so much about the guns. My sons know a lot. But I said, I know it's big. What would happen? They go up, meaning it can take more. I said, so if I'm making a speech and I hear that pinging sound at a window, what would I do? Sir, leave the room right away, but you're going to be safe. We're building something that's going to be amazing. And in light of what we went through, I think people understand it. It's going to be amazing. A phenomenal, one of the biggest drone ports anywhere in the world, right on the roof, right protecting the White House, not only the ballroom. And what's underneath, it's supposed to be a top military secret, what's underneath, but then you get sued as usual, and you have to reveal that you're building this unbelievable situation downstairs with room after room of very complex stuff. It was the military's dream to have it built. I wanted to have a ballroom because for 150 years they wanted it. And then the generals came to see me and they said, sir, you're building something. This gives us an opportunity to do something that will be so unbelievable, never happen again. Because there's very little built under the White House, very hard to build under a very fragile building like that. It's very fragile, it's old, and a little different construction standards, frankly. And this is an opportunity for us to build something very powerful. I said, let's keep it secret. They said, no, we're telling you, sir, let's keep it secret. And then we get sued and we revealed every room, We told the people that did the suing, they're not good people. We told them, we said, you're being very unpatriotic when you bring a suit like this, but it is what it is, but it's moving fast. We're ahead of schedule. We're right on budget. And it's going to be something like, I think, no country has. I just visited China. They have this magnificent room, the Great Room. They call it the Great Room. It's a great room, but what we have is going to blow. There won't be anything like it. It's going to be fantastic. And with all of the things that are going along with it for safety and security of future presidents. I'm only going to be using it for about 6 months, assuming we finish it right on time. I get to use it. Somebody said, he's building it for himself. I'm building it for the future. I'm not building. I use it. Now, had I not gone down 6 or 7 stories, then in that case, I would have been able to get a couple of years out of it. But that was far more complex, what we did downstairs, than what we do upstairs. So we're very proud of it, though. It's going to be amazing. And I think I was just telling a group sitting at the table, we were talking about it. I said, I think, it's a White House correspondence, so I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to use that. It's going to be very large and very beautiful and very safe, and that's what you need. So I was thrilled to see that after witnessing the attack, even Democrat Senator John Fetterman told his fellow Democrats to drop the Trump derangement syndrome and build the White House ballroom. But it's much more than that. It's something that you're going to use. I predict that you're going to end up using it, and a lot of people are going to end up using it. They're going to be as safe as you can possibly be. But despite everything that happened at the previous dinner and all of the dangers involved, I'm told that this is still the hottest ticket in town. This ticket to get in tonight, because it's a smaller room, it's a beautiful room, it's a luxury room. See those beautiful chandeliers? I can tell you everything about them if you'd like to know. See that beautiful Capitol above? See the beautiful Capitol? See everything, the brass. Those chandeliers are great. I'm looking at them, saying, I wonder if I could, I sold this building. And they're doing a nice job, but they're nice people. But I'll tell you, I'm looking at them saying, I wonder if I could walk out with those chandeliers, because you can't buy them. They're very special. I won't tell you the fact. I won't mention that they're Czech crystal, because I'd like to say everything's made here, but they are Czech crystal. And they are beautiful. And the Waldorf people are doing a really nice job. We're proud of them, actually, because, when I left town, I was a little angry. I was a little bit angry. I was offered a nice price. I said, I'm getting out of that place. And then I said, let's make a comeback. And but I was very proud of this building. This building was hot. Remember the lobby floor? 82,000 feet. For those in the real estate business, 82,000 feet. That's a major floor. That thing was packed every single night. It was packed, mostly Republicans, I would say, but it was packed every single night. It almost brings back memories. But I left town, and I have just had nothing but good experience. And this might be the best experience of all, having all of these incredible people in this room. It's a great feeling, frankly. It's a great feeling. But tonight's event, thank you. Thank you. But tonight's event is even crazier than the last time. In fact, it's so successful that I've been informed by CBS News' David Ellison, who's going to do a fantastic job. He's the owner. He bought it, spent a lot of money, and he's going to make, I think, fantastic changes and keep some of the great stuff going. But then next year, they're going to call it the Trump White House Correspondents Center. He told me that, and I like that very much. We're going to change the name of it, okay? Oh, it's going to be so hot, just like our country is hot. We are hot, by the way. But to be honest, it's just about the only way that they're going to ever get me back here. You're going to have to change the name of the dinner. But how's that one going? Not too good. I hope that everyone finally got to enjoy their entire, very delicious beef tenderloins, very special beef. And I want you all to know that Bobby Kennedy, who's right here, personally ran over the cow in his car. Boom. And he cut it up and he brought it here for you to eat tonight. So it's very fresh. And Bobby also suggested an appetizer featuring his favorite cut of male raccoon roadkill. But we drew the line at that, Cheryl. We said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We love Bobby. I'll tell you, this is a piece of work. You think it's It is fun, but he is a very different kind of a person, I will tell you. But he has what it takes, and he's smart, and he loves the country, and he wants people to be made to feel good. You agree with that, Bobby? He wants people to feel good. And he's doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. We can joke all we want, but thank you. A lot's happened since the last time we were all together. Last month, we hosted one of the most incredible sporting events in world history at the White House, the UFC Freedom 250 fight. The UFC fight, when I announced that we're going to build a boxing ring right outside of the front door of the White House, that took a lot of heat. But it turned out that was, they say, about the most viewed fight in history. It was beautiful. So many things happened. It was supposed to rain. We're going to do it the week before, and the weather was beautiful. And the weather came, and it went, and now we came up to Wednesdays. They said, sir, this was on a Sunday night, replacing 60 Minutes, which is nice and unusual, because usually it's Saturday night. And they said, sir, this was from Wednesday on. Tell me about weather, right? Sure, it's going to rain. I think you're going to have to. It's going to be one of the worst storms that we've seen in a long time. It's coming up the coast. It's going to hit you on Sunday night. It's going to be a disaster. I'm saying, can you believe? And you saw the ring we built, Dana White, the great Dana White, and everything. We had the best fighters in the world. Turned out we had the best fights that most people have ever seen, including me. It was just a miracle. But what happened is we're waiting for this rain to come all day long, and it's coming, and it's horrible. And it's 8 o'clock, and we say, I think it hasn't rained yet. I said, maybe we should postpone it an hour. Maybe we should make it the next day. We didn't know what to do. And finally, we just said, let's just have it. And it never rained. It was perfect. In fact, the week before, it was 92 degrees. It was nice, but this was like 72 degrees. And the rain was coming, and it came right over the White House. And it was like, thank you very much. It went like this. And other areas were drenched a few miles away. We didn't have a drop of rain. And it was absolutely one of the most incredible things anybody's ever seen. People said it's one of the most incredible nights of their lives. So just remember, before I came along, if you wanted to see someone lose consciousness on the south lawn of the White House, all you had to do is ask Joe Biden a question. Remember that. Oh, you think I'm kidding? But the big fight was such an amazing success that tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're going to host an even bigger one right in front of the White House. Every Friday night, every Saturday night, we're going to have fights in front of the White House. But we do have something coming and I'm only kidding. You know, the one thing about the press that I learned, don't be sarcastic. Because I'm a very sarcastic person, and I get sarcastic. And most people know that, but you have some bad people that will write it exactly like I say it. And I said I was only kidding. But we are going to have Indy 500. Roger Penske's coming in mid-August, and they're going to have it all throughout Washington, the greatest cars, the greatest drivers in the world. And that's going to be something. Already they have over 350,000 people signed up, going down Pennsylvania Avenue, around the Capitol. And Roger, who's incredible, he won the Indianapolis 500 20 times. Think of it. Germany, Japan, all these countries, they spend billions and billions of dollars trying to win the Indy 500. And Roger wins it. He literally won it 20 times. On the 18th time, I said, you know, that's amazing. I'm going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And I had him up. And then he won it 2 times after that. The guy's amazing. And he lost the last one by about 6 inches, if anybody watched it. So they're coming here, and it's going to be something really exciting. We have unbelievable events. It's an unbelievable country. And on July 4th, we were over at the mall, and it was raining. It was supposed to be really bad again. And we had 450,000 people show up, and that's a light number. And I was told, sir, we're going to have to cancel the event. This was not good. And it was drizzling a little bit, not raining very hard. And people are calling me, friends of mine were calling me. And I got a call from Brett Baer. Brett Baer said, it's not raining. I said, where are you? I'm standing at the mall, and I'm waiting to go in the White House. Then others called up. They said the same thing. And I said, this is terrible, but there was lightning. Not big lightning, but you don't have to have big lightning. It takes just a little bit to do some big damage. So they said, everybody must leave. 450,000 people were forced to leave, and they left. And then I said to myself, let me call up and find out what the hell's going on. And I called up and I spoke to a brilliant young man. He said, don't worry about it, sir. We can do it in a couple of weeks. I said, you can't do it in a couple of weeks. This is the 250th birthday. In 2 weeks, what are we going to do? Say, let's go? We're going to have a redo? No. I said, I'll speak if I have to speak at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I don't care. Call them all back. They're all gone. 450,000, and most of them were in cars or heading back to Texas, and it was sad. And we said the show must go on. Very much like here, we said the same term, right? The show, it's a great term. It's true in life. The show has to go on. The show must go on. And I said, the show must go on. I put it out on Truth. The show must go on. And we had probably, Peter, 150,000 people come back up higher. Maybe, thank you. Let's stand up, Peter. Tell them. More, right? It might have been more, but it was amazing. It was just an amazing crowd. And actually worked out better, a little like this. It worked out better than if we had done it at the normal 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock time. It was incredible. We started speaking at 11 o'clock in the evening, but tremendous numbers of people. Thousands and thousands came roaring back, and it was a great evening. And it was a celebration. And we didn't do it the following day, and we didn't do it 2 weeks later. We did it when we were supposed to do it. It was a fantastic celebration. But I can exclusively reveal to you this evening that for the heaviest of the heavyweights, we will have sloppy Chris Christie, one of the sloppiest human beings you'll ever meet, fighting, I would say, I could mention the governor of Chicago, but I'm going to mention instead Jerry Nadler. And they're fighting for a big piece of cheesecake, big fat piece of cheesecake. Who the hell wrote that line? But it is true. And then you have a Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC plus 3. That's her 3 friends, right? AOC plus 3, and I watched her give that answer when she was over in Europe. It was not a good answer. If I ever gave that answer, I would be out of politics. Remember, you cannot have a 19-second wait time to answer really a very quite simple question. But we'll then have a rematch against an extreme simple question on a foreign policy from Munich Security Conference. It was a big security conference, and this was our first time up in terms of that. And we had a sort of little preview, and then Anderson Cooper was going to fight Lawrence O'Donnell. I'm not a fan of Lawrence O'Donnell. I like Anderson, actually, because he's covered me well for many years. Then he went bad as soon as I went for politics. But for years, he loved interviewing. I did so many interviews with him, and he was great. But, he's got a little different persuasion than me in many ways, actually. And Lawrence O'Donnell, never liked him, never thought he had any talent. But he's still making a living, so I can't knock it. But we had a contest for who had the lowest ratings and the lowest IQ on television. And that was actually Don Lemon, I think. When I said that he's the dumbest man on television, I said, when you say some things, you never make a comeback. It's not like, oh, gee, hey, Don, let's have dinner some night. But I know what I'm saying. And then you have Bette Midler and Jane Fonda actually held a concert to protest the first UFC fight. They didn't want to see the fight. Very few people want. They held an event. Like 3 people showed up. And given the choice between seeing some of the really beat-up faces of the UFC, almost everyone chose the people in the UFC. It was between the 2 of them of the UFC. And what about Bruce Springsteen? What the hell happened to that guy? He looks like hell. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not supposed to say. I'm sure he doesn't like the way I look, but I don't look so bad. But at a recent concert, Bruce, all he did was talk politics. He ought to run for office. That'd be interesting. But all he talked about, he made 4 political speeches in his 3-hour show. The tour has been renamed Bored in the USA. And his new song was so bad that Chris Christie, who's like a fan, he goes out and tells everybody how he hates Chris Christie. Keep that guy out of my... And I see Chris Christie there again, high-fiving Bruce Springsteen in the aisle, and Bruce Springsteen saw him and didn't even lift his hand up. And I just wanted, because I used to be friendly with Chris. Chris, when somebody doesn't like you, write them off, forget it. You got billions of people in the world. You don't have to make a jerk out of yourself. But usually a comedian hosts this dinner, and I think we sort of changed it. Tonight we're going to have somebody who I think is really spectacular, but I've watched comedians get up for the dinner, because I have been here actually quite a few times, people don't realize. And there's one time in particular when Barack Hussein Obama hosted it. Do you know who that is? And he hit me hard, but actually he hit me with respect. I was sitting with Melania at a table, and you had Brooklyn Decker, supermodel, at a table right next to her. And I really always will like her. She's married to a great tennis player, Andy. And she was at the table, not at my table. And I have watched this clip thousands of times. They keep playing it because they think that was the evening I decided to run for president. It was not. In fact, I loved the evening. I looked at my wife. I said, can you believe it? All these people, that's all they're doing is talking about me. I love this dinner. It's true. And Obama was nice. It's amazing how things work out. He actually showed a picture of the White House with a big Trump on top. Like I put a sign. And I'm sort of doing that when you think about it, right? I mean, he wasn't really wrong, but no, he was respectful. He was good, but it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do. I just decided that I wanted to make America great again. This had nothing to do with that dinner. I've gotten so many calls, and for years they've been saying, was that the moment you decided to run? Really, no. I left that night. And the press was there, a lot of the same people that I see. They said, did you have a good time? Unbelievable. And some thought I didn't have, but I did have. And I always remember, though, Brooklyn. She was so angry. She was much angrier than me. She was angry. She thought they were mocking me. And they really weren't. It was just one of those things. And I had a great time. But I left, and I sort of thought, I was there 3 or 4 times before that, but I sort of thought, wow, that dinner is really something special. And then I ran, I got elected. I thought the press treated me very, very unfairly. And I don't know, I think I made the right decision, because you hate to go where maybe you're not wanted, but they did want me. They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for other reasons, but not for love. And I said, I'm not going to go. First time that ever happened, I think. Was that the first time? Just about. Presidents always came. And I didn't go for 4 years because I got treated terribly by the press. In my opinion, unfairly. I know unfairly because I know the facts, but I got treated unfairly. I didn't go. And this year I was called by your president and your chairman and all of the people, and they said, we'd like to do it. And I said, you know what? With time goes by, time passes, and you sort of look at life a little bit differently. I said, let's do it. And I didn't know it was going to turn out the way it did. It turned out to be the biggest event in the history of your day. That was by far the biggest, right? For all the wrong reasons. But as I said before, a lot was learned from that evening. So much having to do with so many different things, including security. But it's an honor to do it. This is my first. I've been to it numerous times, but as president, I haven't been here. And I'm glad. And they said, would you do it next year? I said, I will be back next year. Now, if you get really, really nasty, maybe not. I don't know. But we're going to be back next year. And or Jackie will treat me very badly. But this year, the association decided not to have a comedian, so they considered using Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. These guys, they're terrible. They're terrible. Stephen Colbert. These are people without talent. They get a lot. They have talent. You know who has talent? Their agent, getting them the money they get. They have no talent. But they are not comedians. They're not funny people. They're angry people. They're sick people. But the association really put on a big show, and they have somebody very special. I look forward to seeing him. And so they thought about going with a professional clown for entertainment. But Adam Shifty Schiff was not available. He's known, I called him, I hate some people, I shouldn't say this, I'm president. I'm not supposed to hate. I'm supposed to love everybody. But he's a terrible person. He's a liar. And I called him Watermelon Head because he has the largest head I've ever seen with the smallest neck, pencil neck. How does that big, fat, ugly head stand on a little pencil neck? And then I'm told that even Rosie O'Donnell reached out from Ireland. She really wanted to be here in order to honor me. She loves me very much, and she was desperate to come back to the United States and pay her respect to Donald J. Trump. But that didn't work out, unfortunately, because nobody wanted her to come back. But she's one of the greatest sufferers of Trump derangement syndrome. She's a sick young woman, sick older woman, I guess now I have to say. So instead, we're honored to have, for entertainment, the very talented mentalist, Oz Perlman. And everybody, they said, are you going to stay? I said, yeah, I'll stay. I think I'll stay. What the hell else am I going to do? I've got Iran, I've got this, I've got that, which is all going extremely well. Don't believe the fake news. It's the only thing we were talking before, I said, so we've hit Iran very hard. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. 250 jets, no longer. 159 boats. Good boats. In fact, I said, why the hell didn't we keep them? We could have used them. But 159, but all at the bottom of the sea. They have no radar. They have very few drones left, despite what you see. And every once in a while, they're going to set some things up, but they don't have much left. And by the way, they are talking to us right now. They'd love to make a deal. I don't think they're ready to. I don't think it's time yet, but I'm willing to listen. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. We don't want to see Washington, D.C., or any of our cities, or Israel, or frankly, the Middle East, destroyed with a nuclear weapon, because I know the power of nuclear weapons. I see it. I get to see it. We're not going to let that happen. So this is all about, we will not let them have a nuclear weapon. And they would use it. They would use it if they had it. But Oz, I do have one question about what happened that time, because he was there. How the hell did you not see that coming? He sees everything. He sees everything. He's telling me about your grandmother and your this. Why the hell didn't you? We got to ask him that question when he gets up here. Why didn't he see that coming? But of course, this evening, it's really all about the fake news media and your handling of prizes, and writing and producing and performing made-up stories like the Academy Awards. Academy Awards used to be the epitome of ratings. Outside of the Super Bowl, it got the second most ratings. Now it's down in the dumps. Nobody wants to watch it anymore because they took on Trump. They hit me all night long. They hit me. The winner is so-and-so. I want to talk about Donald Trump. I hate this man. Nobody wants to hear this stuff. Right, Peter? Nobody wants to hear it. You ever see the ratings? They used to have 48 million people. Now they have 2 people watching. But they'll learn their lesson. But I want to personally congratulate CNN's Caitlin Collins on receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I didn't mind. I said, Caitlin, congratulations. But it was fake. There's no question about it. But she's a young, attractive woman. She never smiles. I said, Caitlin, do you have a smile? Smile. You have a nice position. You're at CNN Fake News. You should be a happy person. So smile, Caitlin. Just smile. But we attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can, it was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial ever made, by the way, for those few people that want to hear that. Most people don't care, but I would. I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon. Think of it, they hired Dylan Mulvaney, and their market cap has gone down by $35 billion. Who wrote that commercial? And then you have writer Josh Dorsey. He also received, he's been killing me for years. No, and yet tonight he shakes my hand, he hugs me, everything nice. He kills me. Josh is amazing. He writes more stories than any human being. There's nobody that writes more than Josh. He'll write 4 stories about me a day, all different subjects. I mean, I had the other day 3 stories and one on the he was upset about this. One was on page 7, 3 were on page 1. They were all written by Josh. But he's hit the big time, and he's a workhorse, and yet he's almost unhirable. You know, he's just one of these guys. Wall Street Journal's lucky to have him. But you really, it's unbelievable. He's almost unhirable. CNN is also here, and I'm very disappointed they didn't bring fake Tapper because he's had a rough couple of years, fake has. You know, he calls me up every once in a while. If I pick it up, I pick up my phone. I used to go to this young lady, I'd say, any calls from the press? No, sir. I said, oh, now I'm the president of the United States, right? I'd say to Stephen Chung, is Stephen here someplace? Where's Stephen? He's one of the toughest human beings I've ever met. Don't ever wrestle Stephen, you'll be in big trouble. But I say, Stephen, let me ask you, did the press call? No, sir. You know, when I was a developer, I'd get a call every half an hour. For whatever reason, I always got disproportionate press. So I said, Stephen, nobody called? No, sir. 2 hours later, I say, hi, Steve, how are we doing? Everything good? Anybody call? No, sir, no press calls. I said, I'm president. Nope, they never call. So this went on for about a week. I'd say, Caroline, did the press call? No, sir, no calls. I said, nothing. That's over a week. I haven't received a call. So I said, you know what I'll do? I'm going to give the press my phone number. That was the stupidest thing I ever did. I'm getting a call every 3.7 minutes. Stephen, I don't know where the hell you've been, but the press calls, I'm getting calls, ring, ring. I was with somebody today. They said, I've never heard a phone ring as much as it's fresh. Now, I look at the thing and usually just delete, delete, delete. Every once in a while, it'll be one of the people in this room that I like, and I'll pick it up. Like this one right here calls me on occasion, right? She'll call me and she says, hello, sir. How are you? We want to talk about some horrible subject, like a horrible, depressing subject. I say, Jackie, I don't want to talk about it. Congratulations, however, on your new marriage. But I don't want to talk about it. But it's true. And people call me now. And so for weeks I go, no calls. And I learned then that both of them, they feel that I'm doing a great job. And they feel I'm above it all. And that no person, hundreds of people call no person, is good enough to talk to Trump. And so we don't even bother telling you. That's not the way it works, Caroline. You have to let me know. Because sometimes I do like to speak to the press, but now I have the best system I've ever had. It rings, and just so you understand, you're much better at putting your name, because if there's no name, I just can't do that. You know, I pick up every once in a while. Hello, I'm from Reno, Nevada. We're a startup paper. We're calling us the Reno Express. I said, do you believe I'm the president of the United States? Mr. President, could I have your views on Iran? And I just hang up. No, I get the craziest calls. I mean, some of them, my wife said, I can't believe you do this. This is a hell of a way to live. But sometimes they get calls from very important. Sometimes I can straighten out stories that are going to be fake, and I can make them from a fake story to a good story. I always find that when you don't speak to the press, you always get a bad story. When you do speak to the press, you have a shot at getting a good story. Oh, look. No, look, if I were a reporter, and let's say I'm a big reporter, I work for the failing New York Times, or I work for, well, I don't know, do they ever come to these dinners? Didn't they cancel out a long time ago? Big mistake. They should be here. But I get a call. I've always found that, you know, speaking to them, you just do better. You do better when you can, when you have the time. You speak to the reporter. You treat the reporter with respect. Sometimes now there are reporters where it doesn't matter. You can be so nice to them, it doesn't matter. You get treated unfairly. But you have a lot of great reporters where when you speak to them, you can get your point across, and that's a good thing. But some people say that Jake Tapper is a great investigative reporter in D.C., and that's why after moderating our debate, it only took him 1 year to break the story that Joe Biden might possibly have suffered from cognitive decline. It took him 1 year. He wrote a book about how great he was mentally, not too good. And I don't like Biden because Biden was very unfair to a lot of people. But Jill Biden insists that Joe would have beaten me in 2024, even though he was way down. She said he was way behind in the polls because he was seriously ahead. She felt he was going to win because he was seriously ahead on deceased voters. He was leading in the deceased crowd, and there were a lot of them. You're finding out there's a lot of them. Look at the numbers that just came out yesterday. And it's traditional that at least one or two potential presidential hopefuls attend the Correspondents' Dinner, but many of them seem to have really chickened out. I was disappointed that Gavin Newsom didn't show up. He didn't show up. He should be here. But I heard that he recently said that we will lose our country if we don't fight fire with fire. And to be fair, there's only one thing we know about Gavin, and that's that he definitely doesn't want to fight fire with water. He's got a lot of water and never uses. What a disaster. That should have never happened. But Gavin Newsom recently did a career-threatening, one of the worst interviews I've ever seen, where he said that he can't read a speech. He's incapable of reading a speech. He's a low IQ person. He's smarter, however, than all of the people in the room. And then he gets sued for being a racist, okay, when he said that. But he basically said he has various mental incapacities. He has difficulty in various other ailments mentally. And I'm looking at him saying, this is the worst interview. I'm watching this interview. I said, this is the worst interview I've ever seen given by a professional politician. I've been watching politicians for a long time, mostly on the previous side, because I haven't been doing this too long. How am I doing? Not bad for the number of minutes spent. Not bad. But with Gavin, so he said that all these things, and I said, anybody running against him, all they have to do is take that one interview and you can't lose. I actually put out a statement that Gavin Newsom has come out and said he will not be running for president because nobody can say what he said about himself and survive. Newsom was in big trouble when he openly admitted that Kamala was smarter than him. She said, Kamala is smarter. If Kamala is smarter than someone, you don't want that person to be president of the United States of America. Between California's policies of enabling wildfires, paying drug addicts to be homeless, giving free sex changes to illegals, and telling rich people they're going to take away, all of your money is going to be taken away. People are fleeing, and they're fleeing in droves. We can't have that in this country. It's becoming such a horrible and dangerous location that Ilhan Omar, one of my favorites, and her brother are thinking about moving together, very much in love. The video has surfaced recently of Ilhan giving a speech referring to World War II as World War XI. And they asked her about that. She thought she got it right. But I'm not surprised because she's a low IQ person. And she's also a very dishonest person. And she ought to get the hell out of our country. She shouldn't be here. She shouldn't be in our country. She also calls her brother husband number one. Omar is reportedly being investigated for fraud. She revised her net worth. I was shocked to see that she was worth much more than $30 million. And then when the press got on her, she revised it slightly downward to less than $18,000. So she went from much more than $30 million to $18,000. And I know Democrats, and the word Democrat is something that's come into fashion. I changed the E with a U, and most people don't know that dumb has a B, so we don't have to worry about that. It's very quiet. I thought it was quite good, but I haven't gotten much credit for that. Fake news, good. Pocahontas, good. I won't say Lion Ted because he's on my side. I don't talk about past conquests, but we have a lot of them. I won't talk about. They got a whole table full of Republicans there. They're saying, no, don't mention my frickin' name, will you please? But we've had a lot of good names. But the Democrats are there to destroy wealth, and honestly, they've gone absolutely crazy. Gavin Newsom's not only a man who really wants to run for president, he's doing a bad job running a state. You can't have somebody like a J.B. Pritzker, who I understand is not present, sadly, but, some people say, never use the fat word. And I don't. I would never call anybody fat. I have my own problems, It's not like I'm perfect. Sir, in the back, don't call him a fat pig, okay? I'm sticking up for him. Don't call him you. You can't do that, sir. You can't call J.B. Pritzker a fat pig. please. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everyone's trying to figure out who is that guy, does he exist? But the nice part is when you do that, the press can't get you, because I'm defending a man who obviously has a problem. Actually, he's lost a lot of weight. I saw him recently. He lost quite a bit of weight. I don't know what the hell. He's got no chance, believe me. Anything he does, the family threw him out of the business. A number of other potential Democrat contenders sadly refused to show up tonight. We invited Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. She's referred to Pocahontas because, in fact, I had to apologize. People came up and they said, we want you to apologize to Elizabeth Warren for calling her Pocahontas. And I ended up apologizing to the real Pocahontas. But Elizabeth Warren was supposedly of Indian heritage. And then she took the test and she only had 1,024th Native American. And I said, you know what? I think I'm more of an Indian than she is. So this is what we have to deal with. But Senator Warren did not accept our invitation to debate. I wanted to debate her on various and sundry things, and she decided not to do it. And I decided to bury the hatchet. It doesn't matter. And she, well, I'm not going to say this next one. Do you want to hear this one? How bad? She wasn't high up on her totem pole. Who the hell wrote that? No, she's bad news. I wanted to make sure that Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, remember he went after me for about 2 years? How did he do? Not too good. I'm in the White House and he's not doing as well. I was going to say he's in a different kind of a house, but he's a deranged human being. He's a bad prosecutor. You know, prosecutors are very important. A great prosecutor, a fair prosecutor, but that's the great prosecutors, the ones that are fair. They're very important to a country, but this guy was a deranged lunatic. Saw his invitation tonight. He was invited because, you know, but I put it in a private text to Chuck Grassley. And Chuck saw him and he did a certain thing. And then one man that we had who should be here, he turned Palestinian. This was a man who was 100% for Israel. 100%. Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. Remember he cried at the airport over illegal immigrants. They were the fakest tears. There were people throwing water in his face. But now he's a proud, very proud Palestinian. In fact, I'm going to send him a beautiful Palestinian outfit tomorrow so he can greet Bibi Netanyahu when he comes to town next week, along with the mayor, who I'm sure would love to meet Bibi. They're not treating Bibi too well, but Chuck wanted to join us tonight, but he didn't want to be violating many parts of the Palestinian rules, regulations, and certainly he didn't want to violate Sharia law, his new founding. And all joking aside, I do think we need term limits in Congress. I think term limits are very important because I see what's happening. I see what's happening. The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? You know, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole frickin' stupid speech that they wrote. That was the only good one, and that went down with not exactly great laughter. I think, you know, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love, too, you know. So we're looking for term limits. Does anybody understand this stuff? But I really do wonder whether the Democrats are trying to lose the midterms. In Maine, they nominated a guy with a Nazi tattoo. But don't worry, Democrats. Word is that Plattner's replacement, he throws bottles at women. This guy throws bottles. This guy's another lunatic, by the way. Although I think Plattner might have done surprisingly well because we're in the age of Trump. Call it what you want. People can do well today. Plattner, I don't know. But, you know, people don't have the guts to stick it out, but it looked like he was guilty of a lot of stuff. He certainly didn't defend himself very well. In Texas, the Democrats are running a candidate named James Telefrico, who hates guns, hates oil, hates sex, hates women, and who said he is, quote, a Christian who hates Christianity, Other than that, I think his platform is quite good. And that means that he's not going to do very well against Ken Paxton, who hopefully in Texas is going to win. But Telefrico, he's Alfred. You know what he looks like to me? Alfred E. Newman. Do you remember Alfred E. Newman, Mad Magazine? I said, that guy is Alfred E. Newman. Can't imagine he'd win. Well, I have all of the press here in one place. I have to say that we're having an amazing load of accomplishments that the media never talks about. For example, under my administration, a once feared and powerful regime that relentlessly attacked America has finally been toppled. Their former leaders have been removed, and they're now being run by a gay dictator facing internal divisions. But I, for one, wish Barry Weiss all the best at CBS News. She's a wonderful woman. Most of the press lives here in Washington, D.C., and you should be thankful for me for what my administration and I have done to make our nation's capital, which was one of the most dangerous and unsafe cities anywhere in the world, one of the safest cities in the United States. Crime is down 88%, and our capital is shining again with 62 monuments, statues, water fountains looking more beautiful. The graffiti's all gone. The tents are all moved out of the parks. The fences are all done. Our capital looks like it's really in good shape. And people coming here, people in the White House, they work in the White House, they all say, young women, young guys walk up, they say, thank you, sir. 2 years ago, we lived in a dangerous city. We lived in a city where 150 people were killed a year. And now we have almost a crime-free city. Our National Guard has done an incredible job, and we've removed over 5,000 career criminals. You know, we removed, there's one stat, I think it's a great stat. It's to me, it's fantastic. 2% of the people create 91% of the crime. That's something you can fix, and we fix it. We moved out over 5,000 career criminals out of Washington, D.C., and we have the greatest capital in the world. Again, it's beautiful, it's thriving, the restaurants are thriving. You couldn't get into a restaurant because they didn't have, all the restaurants were closing. And if you even got in, you felt unsafe. People were getting into Ubers and they were being attacked when they were in an Uber. It's not happening anymore. We have tough, smart people, and they have done a fantastic job. Washington, D.C. is safe again. You can't get into a restaurant. The restaurants are opening up. They're opening up all over the city. They can't get, it's the exact opposite. They can't get space. But mostly I've given up on you and the media, so that now I just gave up on you, and I'm number one on TikTok. Did you see that I'm number one, Stephen? Is that true? I'm number one on TikTok. So how can they be so bad? 525, think of this, 425 billion views. Can you believe that, Peter? I mean, let's go, Peter. I gave up on you people. I gave up on traditional press. And it obviously worked because we did win in a landslide. I mean, somebody's got to be saying something good about me. But TikTok, good old TikTok, and I was able to get it sold to a group of very wealthy people, mostly Americans. I was told President Xi, who's a man that I get along with very well, he was a hard no for the sale of TikTok. They all said he's a hard no. I said, well, let's call, put your group together. They put it together, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. I called up President Xi. I said, President, look. These are American people. They're wonderful people. In fact, one of them happens to own CBS, actually. I mentioned his name. I said, these are wonderful people, and it'll be a good thing. Does it mean anything, President? It's nothing. It's nothing. They love your country. We'd love to see you approve the deal. And he goes, all right. That was it. It was done. And we sold TikTok. And he's a friend of mine. And he's not contributing to problems like other people contribute to problems. So we get along. But we made the deal. But number one on TikTok is Trump, and that's probably why we won. But for all of the trouble that you give me a lot of trouble, a lot of heartache. I hope all of you know that I believe in the free press more than anyone in this room does. Maybe not quite. But that's why I'm proud to be the most open and transparent president in history. They call me that. You know who calls me that? Caroline. That's about it. So would anybody else call me that? I think Peter would call me that. Am I the most transparent? Biden never used to answer your questions. He'd ask Biden 20 questions. He'd never get an answer. Who's the most transparent president, Peter? Who? I look at him. It's the first time he's tongue-tied. I cannot believe it. Oh, he's not going to be happy tomorrow. But you people have no idea how lucky you are. When I'm gone, you're all going to be broke. Your business model is going to be finished. No, it's true. When I'm not around, you're going to be broke. There's not going to be anybody to report on. Nobody gives a damn about anybody else. The New York Times the other day had 5 stories about me. You know, before I got into politics, in my whole life, I had 7 front page stories. This is years of success. I think 6 were good, 1 was bad. I had 5 stories, 7, 5 good. Yeah, I had a total of 7 stories on the front page of the New York Times. That's not bad. Now I average about 3 or 4 a day, all different topics, all bad, everything bad. But here we are. I mean, here we are. In fact, when I'm finished, I'm going right back to the Oval Office. So I have to be doing okay. But we are all doing good together. That's why tonight, to show just how much I care about the press, and I want to save your ratings, I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official, in fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you. I'm going to do it again. It should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the 2nd time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we don't have to talk about it. You know, it's interesting, when you come back and you do a good job like we did, you don't care about it so much, but we do have to tighten up these elections because they really are in seriously bad shape. But on a serious note, I want to say once again, I just want to thank you all. It's been an interesting evening. I didn't really know what to expect, and it's far worse than I actually thought, but if you want to know that. But I didn't know exactly what to expect. And I've made a lot of friends tonight. I've made a lot of good friends tonight, probably made some enemies also. But it's been an experience that is something that we've all shared together, because we're all in this room tonight because most of us went through a period of trauma from just a short while ago. And, you know, some people said they wanted to come, but they were afraid to come, and you people weren't afraid to come. There were a lot of people that said, Jackie, they don't really, you know, they didn't have the courage to come. And we don't want that to happen. And I'm sure it's not going to happen. We're going to do things. Again, I want to thank our law enforcement, keeps us safe. All law enforcement. We have the greatest people on earth. You know, we had, 2 years ago, we had the worst record of recruitment in, as an example, the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard, Space Force. I love Space Force. Look at all that shooting we're able to do from space. That was my baby. But all of the branches of, you couldn't get people to join. This was 2 years ago. And last week, you probably saw, some of you wrote the story, we have the single best recruiting of people into our armed forces than we have ever had in the history of our country. They are brimming over with great people. And that's a big statement. And that also goes for the police departments, where they were having a tremendous problem recruiting. You can't get into a police department now. If you're looking for a job, it's very tough. And that also includes our great fire departments, because people forget about them. They're unbelievable, the job they do. So I just want to thank you. Look, we're on the cusp of something big, and I call it, and this, I'm being very serious when I say this, that this is the golden age of America. We have $19.2 trillion being spent in our country. A record was China. I think it was 10 years ago, 3 trillion. Trillion is a lot. 4 years, they went less than 1 trillion under Biden. And we have 19.2 trillion. And this is a period of actually 13 months, not even current, because we're here a little bit longer than that. But that was as of reporting dates. $19.2 trillion is being spent. Factories are coming. Toyota just announced they're going to be building the biggest car plant in the world. They're leaving Mexico. They're coming here. Tariffs did that. Tariffs did that. And maybe November 5th did that too, the election. But Our country is doing things that nobody's ever seen before, and it is true. We were, and you've heard me say this, we were a dead country 2 years ago. Other leaders would see me and they'd say it's a miracle. President Xi told me that a few weeks ago in China, and he's coming here on September, I think, 24th, coming in September, the end of September, going to be exciting. But he said the same thing. The King of Saudi Arabia said it. Everyone said almost the same words. We thought you were a dead country. We never thought you had a chance. You were never going to make it back. And in a period of 1 year, you made it the hottest country anywhere in the world. We all did that together. It's not me. We all did it together. And we do. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we're going to keep it going. And I just want to say, this is a room, I have tremendous respect for the people in this room. Sometimes I don't feel you treat me fair. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't feel that. But sometimes you treat me very fairly. And I have a lot of respect for your profession. Your profession's amazing. And I just want to thank you for having me. And it's been fun. And I've met a lot of great people. And I used an expression, and I've used it right from the beginning. I did this for one reason, to make America great again, and that's what's happening right before your very eyes. We have made America great again. It's going to get a lot greater. So thank you all very much. It's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye. Oh, thank you, Just Jim, for the donation. Thank you, buddy.